house. This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Michigan sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair.
Remember that. Hello, and welcome into the show, everybody. Look, Lions fans, we got to have a serious heart-to-heart. We got to have a serious conversation. What is your obsession with this Los Angeles Rams operation? It's Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Minute. Kyle Sandel producing behind the glass today. Everyone just needs to take a little bit of a sip of the settle down juice, man. Ever since the Myles Garrett trade went down, which sent shockwaves through the NFL, it feels like the Lions fans are so incredibly butthurt that they were not a part of this. Oh, why is Brad Holmes never going to do it all in trade? I promise you it's going to be fine. There wasn't really a trade to do. Look, the Rams had the luxury of having Jared Verse after a disappointing season and putting him on the trade block. Good for them. Good for them. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was a bad trade for the Rams, right? They upgraded their edge rusher spot. But I'll tell you this. Giving up a first, giving up a second, giving up a third, and one of these players that you think could be an all-pro one day, that's a lot to give up. It is. No matter how you think of Myles Garrett, a two-time Defensive Player of the Year, right? Someone who is a first-ballot Hall of Famer in the waiting, right? Who was that player going to be for the Lions? Because don't tell me it was Hutchinson. They were never going to trade Hutchinson. And by the way, Hutchinson last year may have had less sacks than Myles Garrett, more pressures, more QB hurries, more QB hits, forced more fumbles as he's done the last 3 seasons. I think Hutchinson's 87, 88% of what Myles Garrett is, and is 5 years younger and can continue to ascend. Maybe he'll never get to what Myles Garrett is, and that's fine. My point is they still have a superstar edge rusher. Well, they could have had 2, Ben. Okay, who are you giving up? I'm telling you it's probably Jack Campbell, a guy that was first-team All-Pro last season and one of the best linebackers in football. You could have you could have given up maybe Jack Campbell. You could have given up maybe a first-round pick, a second. Is Cleveland really going to do that? Because Cleveland, I think the whole reason that they were willing to trade Myles Garrett yesterday was they got Jared Verse thrown in there. So I don't necessarily think there was a one-for-one package that the Lions could have done. But that's besides the point. The point is, why do Lions fans envy the Rams to an obsessive degree? You guys all saw the movie Obsession, right? I saw that last week with Kyle. Maybe that was 2 weeks ago. I don't know. That's how you guys are with the Rams. Let it go. I don't know what it is, whether it's the Stafford trade, whether it's the fact that you beat them in a playoff series or a playoff game, but they have the Super Bowl. I don't know what it is, but Lions fans cannot stop obsessing over what the Rams are doing. And it's okay to envy them and Les Snead. It is okay to look at them and say, well, why are they being aggressive and my team's not? How about this? Look at the other 31 teams, or in this case, 30 teams other than the Rams and the Lions. How many of the other 30 teams are doing what the Rams are doing successfully? The answer is 0. It's not just unique to the Lions that they're not willing to trade every first-round pick that they have for a decade straight. No other team is doing that. Any other team would crap their pants of the thought of doing that. So congratulations to the Rams and Les Snead. They have figured something out that no one else has the balls to even try. Okay? How about we look at some of the other Super Bowl champions, though, like the reigning Seattle Super Bowl champions, Seahawks. That team didn't make some blockbuster trade last offseason. That team built their team with homegrown talent and got lucky with the injuries last season, guys. There's different ways to go about this. It's not just only the teams that make these all-in blockbuster deals winning Super Bowls. The reigning champions did this thing from within, built their guys up, right? So you can sit here and say, well, the Rams are aggressive. Why are the Lions not? Seattle's not. Seattle's not some ultra-aggressive team. They brought in Sam Darnold as their big acquisition last offseason, and no one had them winning the Super Bowl. They were plus 6,000 preseason. And sure, the Rams are the favorites to win the Super Bowl right now. That's fine. Guess how many favorites have won the Super Bowl since Tom Brady left New England? One of Kansas City's. They were the preseason favorites. Everybody else got these long shot bets. But the goal is to position yourself in a reasonable spot to win a Super Bowl, right? Be within striking distance. I think the Lions have done that every single season going into the year, with the exception of maybe last year. But they have been decimated by injuries. And I'm not even just using that as an excuse. It is something that has just simply happened where teams like the Rams, teams like the Seahawks have gotten lucky on a handful of different occasions. Got into the argument, well, now the Rams just clearly have the best roster in the NFC. Look, they have the most top-end talent. They've got the reigning MVP and the reigning Defensive Player of the Year on their team. So, sure, if you want to say they've got the best stars, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. Last 3 seasons, the Rams have had 5 All-Pro players. You want to throw Myles Garrett into there? I believe he's been an All-Pro 3 times, so there's 8. 8 different All-Pro seasons from their active roster. Lions, 15 different All-Pro selections over the last 2 seasons. And that doesn't include Kirby Joseph, who didn't get placed on one last season, or Brian Branch. That basically nullifies that. Look, guys, the Lions roster is on par with some of the best teams in the NFC, with some of the best teams in the NFL. Stop obsessing over every single little thing that this Los Angeles Rams team does. Just because they do it one way and had success with it one time doesn't mean it's the only way to win a Super Bowl. The reigning champions did not do that, right? The Lions do not need to make some all-in blockbuster deal in order to win a Super Bowl. They just got to stay healthy because the talent that Brad Holmes has brought in is unmatched. And there's already reports that the Rams are not going to be willing to re-sign guys like Puka Nacua and Kobe Turner. Like, they aren't going to re-sign their own guys. And if they win a Super Bowl, sure. Another one, it's worth it, 100%. But the Lions are putting themselves in positions every single offseason to win a Super Bowl. It's not like they're that far removed. It's not like they're some worst team in the division type of team going into this season. They're the favorites. I get it. It's fun what the Rams are doing. It's sexy. They trade their first-round picks. They're basically playing this like a Madden simulation. And it works. That's the craziest part. But the Lions not doing it is not unique to the Lions. The Rams are the exception. The other 30 teams in the NFL wouldn't dare do this. And look at what has happened when they have. The Colts trading 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner. Was that a good idea? No. No, it wasn't. Let's look at some other teams that have traded multiple first-round picks. Look at that. The Green Bay Packers, whose best player tore his ACL, the one that they did. And then just like that, it was like, that kind of stunk. Look, you know what's a better example? The Denver Broncos trading multiple first-round picks for Russell Wilson. How did that work out for them? And this isn't multiple first-round picks, but they used their first-round pick from a couple of years ago, Jared Verse, to be able to do this. So in a way, it kind of is. When you do these all-in type of trades, more often than not, it doesn't work out. But in the case of the Rams, it has. They're the exception, not the Detroit Lions. So get off your high horse about, I wish the Lions were aggressive. Brad Holmes would never do anything like this. Neither would 30 other GMs in the NFL. The Rams are unique. The Rams are specific. They're Los Angeles. They're sexy. It's understandable to envy them. But if you're going to do that, envy the other teams that have won a Super Bowl too, like the Seattle Seahawks, who did that by drafting their own guys, who did that from building a team from within. That's the path that the Lions are on. There's no right or wrong path as long as you can get to the final destination, which is a Super Bowl. Obviously, the Lions have not been able to do that, and the Rams have in their two different approaches. That doesn't mean the Lions will never be able to do it if they continue following this approach. Because I would argue, and I believe a lot of people out there also would understand, man, if they just stayed healthy one of those seasons, they could have got it done. It's the unfortunate truth, but it's the truth. That's the only thing that has really held them back in 2023 and 2024. Last year, obviously, an exception to all of that. But the Rams have also had some pretty tough seasons, guys. Year after they won the Super Bowl, they had the 6th pick. That's how the Lions got Jahmyr Gibbs. They've had their failures too. The Lions have had some successes. They haven't got all the way. But the way that they are operating right now isn't some catastrophe. Oh, look at whatever. I wish we were the Rams. Go be a Rams fan then, man. I don't know what it is. Why is it that team? Is it the Stafford trade? Are people still hell-bent on that? I don't know. But one thing I do know is the Lions have it pretty damn good right now compared to the other 31 teams in the league. You should always compare yourself to the best and see how they're doing, but don't just specifically take notes on one single team and try to copy them step by step in what they're doing. Take notes from everybody, successes, failures, and build your own strategy. And Brad Holmes has built a strategy. And so far, it's worked out for the most part, even though they've come short of a Super Bowl. Even though they don't have anything in their trophy case, Brad Holmes has had a pretty damn good tenure as the Lions GM. I'm willing to let him continue to do his thing. And if there's another season in which they make the playoffs, all right, I'll raise my hand, white flag. Everyone else was right and I was wrong. But I have told you I think they're in prime position to bounce back and make the playoffs this year. I have told you that because this offensive line is fixed up now and this 4th place schedule, I think it's more likely they're contending for a 1 seed than fighting for a playoff spot. Again, one team in the last 8 years has been the preseason favorites and actually won the Super Bowl, and that was the Kansas City Chiefs in one of their back-to-back seasons. Every other Super Bowl champion has been nowhere near the top. So let's get one thing straight. Sure, the Rams have won this year's offseason. Congratulations. Lombardi Trophy gets handed out in February, guys. Let's let the season play out before we just hand them that trophy. Congratulations on getting Myles Garrett. I'm sure the Rams fans are ecstatic about it, but let's look at the last offseason winners from NFL.com from last year. Commanders, Vikings, Raiders, all of which missed the playoffs. I don't think the Rams are going to miss the playoffs. I think they should be the favorites to win the NFC. But with that being said, it doesn't make them NFC champions before the season starts. Let's let this season play out. Let's give the Lions a little bit of an opportunity before we just sit here, pound our fists, and be upset that Brad Holmes isn't Les Snead. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt. Kyle Sandel behind the glass today. Mitt messages open the entire day. I want to get your thoughts on this Myles Garrett trade because all the reaction I have seen is, oh, I just can't believe it. I wish Brad Holmes was Les Snead. Get out of here. I don't want to hear that. Okay? I really don't. Got our own mission to focus on. Let the Rams go do their thing. 989-837-6125. Again, this is the Ben Bosscher Show, live here on 100.9 The Mitt. The 9 o'clock hour, as always, is brought to you by Iron Stack Technology. Solution-driven, mission-focused. That is Iron Stack. They help businesses solve real tech problems securely, efficiently, and without the headache. When your IT is working the way it should, everything else gets easier. Find them online at ironstacktechnology.com.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9. Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, welcome back into the Ben Bosscher Show, everybody. I want to get Kyle's thoughts on this before anybody else's, and then we'll get to the messages, comments in the YouTube. I'm sure there's some going on as well. But where do you stand on this Myles Garrett trade? Because all the reaction I see from Lions fans is just so much anger, so much jealousy towards what this Rams team is doing, when in reality, what they're doing is great. Obviously, they should be happy that they got Myles Garrett. But in this case of the Detroit Lions, I think they are on their own path. I think they are doing things in a very efficient way, better than almost every team in the NFL. Yes, it's easy to envy what the Rams are doing. How about you envy what Seattle is doing as well? You know, the team that actually beat the Rams last year in the playoffs, built their team from within, and stayed healthy throughout most of the season. I think the Lions are perfectly capable of being a superior team in the NFC this year, despite the Rams being favorites. My whole thing is, just because they're the favorites right now doesn't mean they're going to win the whole thing, right? We're not crowning champions here in June. And it feels like that's what a lot of folks are trying to do right now. By the way, just realized, 1 year anniversary of the show. So this is a full year of the show.
It is, yes. Episode 250 today, too. So a couple of milestones today. Yeah, look, I will say I'm not mad about it. I know a lot of fans' reactions initially when this went down was their immediate thought, well, I thought Myles Garrett was never getting traded. You know, that was always the thing that when Lions were in the Myles Garrett talks, like the last couple of years, they weren't actually in the talks, but it was just people throwing out the Lions as a team to go trade for him.
I never thought he was going to get traded.
I don't think anyone did. It sounds like he
wasn't going to get traded until the Rams threw in Jared Verse. My question is, who is that person for the Lions? Jack Campbell? No, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a name that you never would have thought of trading, right? That's who it has to be. It can't be someone. It can't even be a player like J-Mo, who was once a guy that like fans thought about trading. Jack Campbell's never been that guy, and he's coming off of an awesome season. And it has to be a guy that good, because you think the Rams fans ever thought Jared Verse was going to get traded?
Nope.
That's why we were so shocked initially once this went down. But that's my point that you just bring up about Seattle. That is why I am jealous of the Rams, because their reaction to losing in the NFC Championship game last year was trading their young franchise edge rusher as well as a first-round pick and extra draft capital to go get the best defensive player on the planet. That's their reaction to losing. Not, oh, we'll trust it. You know, we'll be back next year. We're trying to build something here. You know, that's what I'm jealous about with the Rams, is they put winning over everything. They put winning a Super Bowl over sustained success, over cap flexibility, over building for the future, over all of that stuff. They put winning a Super Bowl in the right now, in the current present, over everything else. That's what I'm jealous about. And I'm not saying that the Lions don't do that, but how often do we hear Brad Holmes and just everyone else involved with the Lions talk about, well, we want to build something different than the previous regime. We want to build sustained success. Yep. We don't want to just go all in for 1 year, and then what happens if we don't win it? Then we're bad again for 5 years. I understand all of that, specifically for a franchise in the Lions that does not have a great history and everything, but they still don't have a Super Bowl. And isn't the whole goal to win the Super Bowl?
Absolutely.
Not to make the playoffs for 10 years in a row like the Pittsburgh Steelers do and lose in round one?
Mm-hmm.
It's winning a Super Bowl. And the Rams know how to do it because they did it. They have a formula. So they're going to trust that formula and go right back to it. They said F them picks for 10 years, and then all of a sudden they drafted a guy in the first round back-to-back years, and it's like, this is weird. I don't like this. Let's go back to the formula that got us the Super Bowl the first time around. And it was a massive trade to get Matt Stafford. A little bit different. I think trading for the quarterback trade is always going to be different than any other non-quarterback trade because it's something that shifts a team so much. But this is probably the closest thing to it, right?
I mean, yeah, it's the
trading for the best defensive player that you and I maybe have ever seen. I know that we kind of crowned that to Aaron Donald. I think I might be willing to give it to Myles Garrett.
Now, if that guy comes out of retirement, okay, maybe we've got some problems on our hands.
Like,
but until that happens,
you know?
I know.
Right.
But until that happens, I'm not just going to sit here and crown them these games still have to be played out. Right? That's kind of my whole big thing. And it feels like right now everyone is crowning the Rams the NFC champions before the season has even started. We still have to let this play out. Now, if you want to be jealous that their reaction to losing a Super Bowl or losing the playoffs is to make this all-in sort of move and go trade for the best defensive player on the planet, it's understandable, right? But in the case of the Lions, it's not like they were truly bested in 2023 or 2024, it's not like first of all, their biggest need was an offensive tackle. And all of us understood that. Every single one of us knew that their biggest need was an offensive tackle. You're not just trading for an offensive tackle. Let's be very clear about that, okay? Second of all,
can I say something?
Sure.
You're not just trading for Myles Garrett, but the Rams made him available. That's the thing. Like that's the whole part about this that makes this unique for the Rams. He wasn't available. Okay, we'll make him available.
Yeah, they threw in Jared Verse, and that's how they actually got the deal done. Okay, again, who is that player for the Lions that no one would have discussed but could have gotten thrown up onto the trade block? My only real person that I can come up with is Jack Campbell. But you already paid Jack Campbell, so I don't know why the Browns would have done that. They also have an rookie of the year type of player who plays the exact same position as Jack Campbell. So who is the relentless guy that you threw into this trade if you're a Lions fan that you would be cool with saying goodbye to that no one else has talked about? Because it's not Aiden Hutchinson. And it's not Ali McNeil, because I don't think the Browns would have taken that $28 million per year contract either. So who is it?
And you're probably throwing in more draft capital than the Rams did as well, just because
100%.
It's not the same position,
100%. So who is the player for the Lions? Now, you can sit here and tell me that you got to be aggressive. You got to be aggressive. If you keep calling, something will happen eventually. Tell me who the player is that would have gotten it done if you're a Detroit Lions. If you're Brad Holmes, who would you have thrown in to actually get this deal done? Jack Campbell's the closest thing I got, but he's already been paid, and that team already has an all-rookie linebacker who won Defensive Player of the Year last year. So who is that player? That's what I don't really understand and can't really point to. It's not Brian Branch. No one's, you don't get a one-for-one swap with a safety and edge rusher. It's the least valued position on the defensive side of the ball versus the most valued position on the defensive side of the ball. Lions obviously don't have a cornerback worth trading that much. And you're not doing it with Hutchinson, who's 5 years younger. So you tell me, anybody else, like not just you, but like anybody, tell me who the player would have been for the Lions to get this done. Because it sounds like the Rams really tried to do the 3 firsts, whatever it was, and the Browns weren't going to do it. And as soon as they got Verse, who had a disappointing season last year, so good for the Rams that they were able to move off of him after he didn't take a sophomore jump, who would the player have been for the Lions? It's not going to be Derek Moore, a guy that you've never seen play.
Right.
So I don't know who it is. So I get the envy. It's fun. It's a Madden sim. It's LA. It's sexy. Could this have realistically happened for the Detroit Lions?
No, and I don't really think there's a lot of fans that are taking that mindset because, to your point, the ones that are like the mad ones, because I fit the jealous group. I will. I admit that. I'm jealous of what the Rams do. It'd be awesome to be a fan of that team. That like anything short of getting to a Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl is a disappointment. And I think that would be fun to be a fan of that team. But I don't fit into the anger group because the anger group, like you're saying, can't really come up with the realistic options of this. And would you have been willing to trade Jack Campbell? Would you have been willing to trade a Jameson Williams? Even if I don't even know if that gets it done. It's unrealistic. Of course it is. And that's what Scott in our YouTube chat says. He says it would have had to have been J-Mo, which I'm not for.
Yeah. And based on what the Browns have put into their receiver room in the draft, I'm not sure they would have accepted that either, even though J-Mo probably would have walked in and been wide receiver 1 there. But J-Mo's, look, would I have traded J-Mo straight up for Myles Garrett? No. Would I have traded, yes, I would have. Would I have traded J-Mo plus firsts for Myles Garrett? Probably not. That's a lot to ask for a guy who's worth it. Like, if that is your need, if you have a pressing need of an edge rusher, a superstar edge rusher, sure, it might be worth it. Guess what? The Lions don't. Despite having missed 12 games 2 years ago, Aiden Hutchinson, of the guys in the NFC, of the edge rushers in the NFC, has the 3rd most sacks. He's a very productive player. Is he Myles Garrett? No. Is he the next tier below? What is the best defensive player on the planet? Yes, he is. They didn't have a pressing need for another edge rusher. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to the Lions fans. I'm sorry. But they didn't. So you're not going to invest that much capital into bringing another person in. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. We're live here on the MIT. The show, as always, is brought to you by Bresky Siding and Building Repair, the experts who do the show the job right the first time. Whether you have a leaky roof, storm damage, siding looking tired, Bresky has you covered. Locally owned, trusted, and dedicated to keeping Midland area homes safe and looking sharp. Quality materials, skilled craftsmanship, and service that puts your family first. Don't wait for the next storm. Call Bresky Siding and Building Repair today. Keep your home strong for years to come.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9. On 100.9 The Mid.
All right, Myles Garrett getting traded wasn't the only thing that went down yesterday in the NFL. Here's Kyle with the news.
The Mitts Morning Catch.
I tell you what, though, it was like some of the bigger breaking news reactionary-wise I've had in a while.
What, to the Myles Garrett thing?
Yeah.
It was the first time since, well, it was the second time ever I just didn't believe it when I was told of it. We were out to lunch, and our good friend Carlos said, Myles Garrett got traded. And I shook my head. I said, no, he didn't. That didn't happen. And sure enough, he did.
Yeah, I mean, and this like kind of got leaked, or at least the information of this trade happening got announced earlier in the day at Browns OTAs, and Cleveland Talk Radio was talking about it in the morning. Like, yeah, the Myles Garrett trade is done. And I just had no clue that this was even going to go down. And it seemed like there was some information about this happening before it did. So, yeah, pretty crazy stuff. It ends up being Jared Verse, their first-round pick next year, 2027, a 2028 second, and then an additional third, which I believe is also in 2027. So
it's in 2028.
The third is also, so they go 2028.
No, it's 2029. It's
okay,
straight. It's different drafts every draft. Good for the Rams.
I mean, in a vacuum, only giving up one first-round pick to acquire Myles Garrett just feels wrong.
Yep. Yeah, it does.
Okay, I'll move on. The other trade that went down, A.J. Brown gets traded after this to the Patriots for a 2028 first and a 2027 fifth-round pick. And then some information comes out after this trade that apparently A.J. Brown requested to be traded after Week 4 with the Philadelphia Eagles last year when they were 4-0. But the trade request was rebuffed. And if you remember, that was the game.
Is that news, though? Like, did we not already know that?
But it was
hasn't he been trying to get out of there for like 2 years?
And he made it obvious. But in Game 5, their fifth game of the season, that was against the Denver Broncos. That was the game where he like went on a go route down the field, had his guy beat, but he was jogging and like wasn't running to it, and they missed him because Hurts threw it deep as if he would have been running. And then he like broke up the Hail Mary to Devontae Smith in the end zone. Like, it was that exact game that it went down. So now everyone is going back to that now. But nonetheless, A.J. Brown is reunited with Mike Vrabel in New England, finally.
I mean, Drake May's the best quarterback he's ever played with, right? I know Hurts is a Super Bowl winning guy, but at the end of the day...
Yeah, he's got to be.
Yeah, Drake May's a better guy.
What about Ryan Tannehill, though?
Hey, man, Ryan Tannehill put some good years together.
Okay, Tigers-Rays, we're going to talk about their game last night a little bit later, but they did pick up the win 10-9. A weird game yesterday. Game 2 of that series is tonight at 6:40, and it is the big Jack Flaherty bump day, ladies and gentlemen. He's taking on the left-hander Steven Matz.
Still looking for his first win on the season. 0-for-7 right now. 0-for-12 in attempts, but 0 wins and 7 losses handed out to him specifically. Pretty wild stuff at this point. It's June, man. You kind of need a win if you're going to be. He hasn't gotten hurt. He's been in the rotation the entire season. 0 wins. It's been hard to do.
Hey, if the bats show up like they did last night, though, maybe Jack Flaherty can give up like 6 runs and it won't matter. Who knows? Okay, let's look at the community calendar presented by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. The Loons start a 6-game homestand with the Lansing Lugnuts tonight at 7 o'clock. Loons are 29-20 with a 1-game lead over Dayton in the Midwest League East right now. So this is a fun in-state battle if you want to come out to a game this week. All 7:05 first pitches except for Sunday's game, which is a 1:05 against the Lansing Lugnuts. A bad day today, outside of it being the 1-year anniversary of the Ben Bosscher Show for the Detroit Sports Lens. Because 16 years ago today, the almost perfect game of Armando Galarraga. Jim Joyce calls him safe at first. Miguel Cabrera can't believe it. He's in Jim Joyce's ear the entire rest of the inning. Galarraga's the most infamous just smile, just in complete disbelief. One of the worst days ever. Like, it was truly one of the worst times to experience that moment.
Is this the worst officiating, umpiring mess up we've had in the history of sports? It wasn't a playoff game, so maybe let's just purely for regular season. Is this the worst mess up that there's ever been? It's the most blatantly wrong call, maybe.
Yeah, it probably.
It's up there.
I mean, like there's a lot of them, but this one is just for a historic moment, and I think the fact that it doesn't come in a playoff game because almost every other like blown call is something could have been done after the fact to change the outcome, you know? Like, I do think in recent history that Rams-Saints missed pass interference call is like one of the worst missed calls ever.
Yeah.
But they went to overtime after that. Like, the Saints still could have won the game. Whereas this was just to go for history. There's been, 20-some perfect games thrown in MLB history? Like, for Armando Galarraga's name to be written in history like that, and a lot of people do say, oh, yeah, but it's actually a perfect game. It's not. It's not.
It's not.
There's a hit on the box score. Yeah, it's probably the most blown lead thing ever.
Can you imagine if that happened in today's MLB where we could have reviewed it and he would have gotten it, but the moment just still gets taken away from you regardless because you got to go review it?
Or like they didn't have any challenges left.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Like they could have reversed the call, but no more challenges.
Could you? Oh, no. I can't imagine that. That'd be awful.
Or like it's a called ball 4 on a ABS challenge system. Yeah, like just thinking about that happening nowadays that's not a fun thought. More baseball stuff. Tarek Skubal pitched a full sim game yesterday, 64 pitches. 45 strikes thrown with 6 Ks. He had 10 whiffs as well, only giving up 2 hits and 1 walk. And it sounds like things went well enough for Skubal that the next time we might see him could be in an official rehab start with one of the minor league affiliates, likely Toledo, but who really knows? Depends on where they're at. Pretty interesting stuff. This would be pretty big news if he could make a rehab start like at the end of this week or sometime this weekend, because that would mean he could be eligible to come back in less than 2 weeks.
I was really hoping that I was going to look to my left and West Michigan was going to be on our schedule here at Dow Diamond. They're not.
They're not.
Imagine if we were playing them this week and it was like, hey, Saturday, guess what? They're sending Scoob here.
That'd be unbelievable. But it's not going to happen because we're playing the Lugnuts, unfortunately. We'll do a couple more things here in the news. Hey, the real big news that happened in the NFL yesterday, that was not the A.J. Brown trade, not the Myles Garrett trade, no. It was the New York Football Giants signing 3 different wide receivers. They first off signed Braxton Berrios, only being known for being Alex Earl's ex-boyfriend. And then 2 just washed up guys that I'm surprised are still in the league. Odell Beckham Jr., Giants legend, and Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, what a collection of guys to all sign in a 3-hour span.
This tells me that they're not all that confident in Malik Neighbors being fully healthy. So they're just trying to bring in as many guys as possible, which is concerning. But Kyle, this is the team. This is the frisky NFC team that everybody's talking about as the playoff team. Odell Beckham Jr. and Juju Smith-Schuster just signed with this team. I think I'm all good on the New York Giants.
Why did they do that?
Especially with everything going on with their quarterback right now, too. He might have taken the cake or the baton been passed to him for biggest distraction off the field from Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini, what Jackson Dart had done in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and it sounds like it has become a major distraction in the locker room, even though they've declined to talk about it a handful of times.
Well, him and Abdul Carter, that whole situation that has gone down with it. Jameis Winston, who, by the way, just once again proves time and time again he's going to be great TV once he's done in the NFL. He went to the presser and kind of like just told everyone like everything's okay and did this whole spiel about it's going to be okay, it's this and that, and I thought it was really funny. And now they add OBJ and Juju to the team. Just hilarious stuff. We will end the news here, and it is some sadder news. Hall of Fame basketball coach Rick Adelman passed away yesterday at age 79. He, of course, is the father of current NBA head coach of the Denver Nuggets, David Adelman. 10th most wins ever for Rick, most notably known for taking the Trailblazers to the finals twice in 4 years, I think it would have been, losing to the Pistons and then losing to the Bulls in the part of their first three-peat. But yeah, rest in peace to Rick Adelman.
You got anything better to end it on?
You want me to end it on something better? Okay.
A little bit.
Russell Wilson's going to TV.
That was actually worse. All right. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. We're live here on 100.9 The Mid. I'm just trying to... it's CBS, right?
Yes,
I'm just trying
CBS.
to envision what Russell Wilson's going to sound like making his picks at 12:55 before a Sunday slate. Like, it's going to be so crazy.
He's going to be so corny. It's going to be hilarious.
You know I'm picking the Giants. Got to rock with my guy Jackson Dart. He's going to go lace him up today against them Cowboys. It's like, bro, what? Talk like a normal person.
That's so good, actually. That's for sure what it's going to be like.
The Midland Area Community Foundation is dedicated to strengthening our community through generosity and connection, supporting local nonprofits, scholarships, and projects that make Midland a better place to live, work, and play. That is the Midland Area Community Foundation.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
Kyle, remind me, what day is it? What day is it, Kyle?
June 2nd.
That's not what I meant. What day of the week is it?
Oh, it's Tuesday.
Which means we've got a Tuesday Tower to get to. Inspired by Kyle this week, I want to present the Tuesday Tower of NFC non-quarterbacks now that Myles Garrett has been sent over to this part of the league. So at the very top, of course, the reigning defensive player of the year. If quarterbacks are not going to be included, that's going to be the guy at the top. This tier is labeled the Monster, and that's Myles Garrett. The second tier, the Mammoths, Micah Parsons and Penei Sewell, each of which have 3 first-team All-Pros to their name in a matter of 5 seasons in the NFL. So that is your second group, the Mammoths, Penei Sewell and Micah Parsons. The third tier, the Weapons, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua, Justin Jefferson. I think those are the most consistent 3 best wide receivers in the NFC and have been for the last 2-3 seasons. And then I have the luxurious items. Christian McCaffrey, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, and Aiden Hutchinson makes this list as well. Having an amazing running back is a luxury in today's NFL. You don't need one to be fantastic. I mean, look at the last few Super Bowl champions. Kenneth Walker, I wouldn't say is a superstar. He's a really good running back. Kansas City's never really had a superstar running back either. The Rams, when they won it, didn't have a superstar. But having these guys is a luxury. That's where I've kind of landed on the whole running back thing for right now. You don't need one. You need a wide receiver. That's why all the weapons on the third tier are wide receivers. You need one. You don't win Super Bowls without awesome receivers. You can win Super Bowls without running backs, but these running backs elevate their teams in ways that nobody else is really doing. So I have CMC, who's been a first-team All-Pro 2 of the last 3 seasons. Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson, those are your number 1 and number 2 players in the NFL the last 2 seasons in terms of scrimmage yards. And then Aiden Hutchinson, who has the 3rd most sacks in the NFC, only behind Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett over the last 3 seasons, despite Aiden Hutchinson missing 12 games in 2024. He's still the 3rd on the list. So that is my pyramid. The Monster, the Mammoths, the Weapons, and the luxurious items, the 10 best players in the NFC that are not quarterbacks. If you're on our YouTube, you can see it. If you're on the radio side, I hope I'm explaining this well enough. Your initial reaction to seeing this?
Well, the initial reaction is Hutchinson a luxurious item?
I didn't know what else to name this tier. It's tough with 3 running backs and then throwing in Aiden Hutchinson as well. You know?
I mean, the initial reaction is pretty obvious here. There are 4 Lions out of a 10-player list in an entire conference. Like that's
part of what I'm getting at, dude. It's
that's
part
the
of
initial
what I'm
reaction.
saying.
And honestly, that is what did inspire this when I thought of this category. Because one, I mean, obviously Myles Garrett was the initial one, but I was just thinking, like, man, how many Lions are in the top 10 non-quarterbacks in the NFC, in the conference? Because we always talk about how the Lions are an extremely top-heavy team. I still think they are, despite adding some depth this offseason. I still think they're extremely top-heavy. This list doesn't even include guys like Jack Campbell, who was an All-Pro last year, and Brian Branch. We know how great we feel of Kirby Joseph when he's healthy. Sam Laporte is awesome. So stuff like that is why you feel so good about the Lions. Them having 4 guys on here is just, wow, it feels crazy. What, the Rams have 2, and technically now with Myles Garrett added, and that's it. No other team's got more than 1, and there's 4 Lions.
Is this bias, or is this truly what the list should look like, which speaks to how good the Lions' top-end talent and depth are on this team? Because I think maybe the 49ers could make a case that Kittle should be on here.
I have some names that I think were left off, but I don't really know who gets replaced. Kittle's a good one.
But also a little bit past his age. Like, he's no longer the best tight end in the NFL. I don't think there's anybody on the Packers to make an argument for. I don't really think there's anybody on the Bears. Those are both good teams, but they
maybe Tooney, just because he was the real. What was his
protector
of
the
award?
year?
Yeah, I always forget that name. Yeah, that dumb award.
You could have Tooney on there if you really want to have a guard
that's boring.
On there.
That's boring. A guard on this list. I mean, the only offensive lineman that makes the list is Penei Sewell. When I do think Trent Williams, I mean, is always described as one of the better offensive linemen in the NFL. He deserves at least a mention here. Tristan Wirfs, of course, of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers deserves some love here as well. I think those are the only offensive linemen that deserve anything here. There is an elephant in the room here, and Noah's already crashing out in our YouTube chat. Kind of expected that. No Jackson Smith and Jigba, the reigning offensive player of the year, also was on the Super Bowl winning Seattle Seahawks and was clearly their best player. There's an entire the weapons tier that doesn't include him, and yet he's not even in the luxurious items.
Yeah, no Seahawks in general.
Seahawks in general
pretty tough.
Is pretty tough, especially when there is a whole sub-tier created for like the wide receivers. So maybe that's where the bias comes in a little bit, because I think Puka and Jets are on here, no doubt, right?
Yeah, here's where I'd flip it back. Which of these receivers would I be taking off? I don't think I can.
I think it's St. Brown, right? It just has to be.
You mean St. Brown is top 5 in receptions, yards, and touchdowns the last 3 years? None of the other receivers, not just in the NFC, but the NFL can say that. Look, my thing with JSN is if he does what he just did last season, again, okay, he'll make his way onto the list. I need to see it for more than just 1 year, because what I don't want to do is make the CeeDee Lamb mistake of like, oh, CeeDee Lamb's the third best receiver in the NFL because he had one of those spectacular seasons the way that JSN just did. And it's not taking away from that, but at the end of the day, CeeDee Lamb has not been able to replicate what he did. I think that was 2023.
Yeah,
since
I thought Lamb was a good one as well. That was like, okay, he deserved to maybe be an honorable mention here for this.
To pass these three receivers,
right,
Amon-Ra, Jefferson, and Puka, you need to do it for more than just one season, all of which, like, these three guys have all done that.
The lone other person that I think not having a Philly defensive player feels wrong, just with how like studful that defense has been. Jalen Carter feels like the guy, but I don't know who he replaces. It's a good point. Like there's not that many defensive guys on this list, right? And it's all edge rushers, so it does make sense that it's premier positions. And you mentioned it with the running backs. Like having a premier running back is a premier in itself. So I don't hate this list. I think the JSN thing is pretty tough. Where does the top 5 get cut off? Like if you had to make a top 5 out of the weapons tier, who is the one left out? Because obviously Garrett, Parsons, Sewell are in your top 3.
Because I think Amon-Ra and Puka have both outperformed Justin Jefferson the last 2 seasons, but I still think Jefferson's the best receiver in football. You know? So it's tough. If you're asking me who I'd rather have.
Yeah. If you're going in order of the way you kind of put these on here, it seems like Jefferson would get the cutoff. He's the third guy on the...
I mean, he's been the least productive of the last couple seasons. But he's also had 9 throwing him the ball for the last year.
And Max Brosmer.
Yeah, and Max Brosmer. So kind of tough to knock Jefferson for that. 989-837-6125. How about let's get into this Tigers game from last night in which they won. It was nerve-wracking. They made us really sweat it out. It was a horrifying win in every way. And Will Vest picks up his first save of the season. Yeah, that's right. You heard that correctly. His first save of the year. The Tigers pick up a 9-10 win. That's when we come back here on the Ben Bosscher Show, live on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.
Blazy Electric Studios. This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mid. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
All right, let's jump into this Tigers game from last night where at what point they had a 6-run lead, and moments later, I genuinely felt like they were about to lose. Will Vest comes in, and he ends up picking up his first save of the season, but not without sweating this entire thing out. Kyle, that 8th and 9th inning, I couldn't believe what I was watching, yet I 100% could, because I was like, why did I ever think that this team was actually going to win in this game? 6 runs isn't even enough to support this team having a lead late into the game. It ends up being a 10-9 final for this Detroit Tigers team, but they end up giving up 4 runs in the 8th inning, then sweating it out in the 9th. Oh my God. I think this team is built to give their fans heart attacks.
I thought we were finally going to get a normal win. Like, it was one of those games where they get up so much, and I was like, okay, I think I actually can, turn this off, and they're going to win.
No
and
lead
they
is
haven't
safe.
had one of those, and that's my whole thought the whole time. It was like, okay, we're going to have a comfortable victory. When's the last time they have had a comfortable victory, man? It's been like a month, it feels like. And so it felt that way. Of course, you're right. It's never going to go down that way, especially on a bullpen day when this bullpen has just been so unreliable. But how weird was this happening? I don't even think this was really on the bullpen. Of course, Bo Breesky, who made his return back for the first time this season this weekend against the White Sox in his second appearance, just starts walking everybody. And then all the bizarre stuff started happening, right? Little blooper infield singles, bunt singles, balls that are barely staying fair that Colt Keith is knocking into the outfield. And the how you lead play is truly one of the,
that was the moment I was like,
that
why?
encapsulates.
This is going to cost us the game. 100%.
I mean, it was an inning-ending double play. He had it and just throws the ball out of his mitt. Then McGonigal tries to make a crazy play. I was worried he got injured on the play. He just dives head first trying to make the throw to first. It was so weird. It was the most awkward-looking play ever. Somehow they won, but like you said, it felt like they weren't going to. Even Benetti on the broadcast, after they continuously had these weird errors, and I mean, not even all of them were errors, but he was just like, what is going on? Like, this is the weirdest game ever. And it felt like he almost thought they were going to lose too.
Well, did you catch at the end of the 8th inning when they finally got out of it and it was a 1-run game? Benetti goes, they leave the 8th inning with a lead. I have no idea how.
Yeah, he's like, they somehow have the lead.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up this Tigers season. Look, man, it's nice for them to get a win. And Benetti, they were doing a great job of oh, it's June, it's a whole new month. Like, maybe this is the month they can turn things around. It's like, guys, I really think it's probably too late. They're going to have to win 9 series in a row for me to think that they're even going to come back and have a chance to make the postseason. I think it's probably too late. You are on your last life. You can't have any more slumps throughout the rest of the season. And even the best teams in the league will have a slump at some point from now until the very end. And unfortunately, the Tigers have already had all of their slumps to the point where they can't even afford another one. Look, the offense explodes. Riley Green, Dylan Dingler, Kerry Carpenter all hit home runs. They end up hitting 5 in total. It's the first multi-home run game of Dylan Dingler's career. It was a nice night at the ballpark for the offense down in Tampa Bay. But, I mean, who are we kidding? It doesn't matter. That's the most unfortunate part. It's going to take an entire month of playing baseball at an exceptional level for them to actually pull themselves out of what they've gotten themselves into after the month of May. Now, even if the offense is great this month, even if the offense rocks and they are able to score more than 2 runs every game, and they have more of these explosions on offense like they did last night, you really trust this bullpen to hold leads after last night? No.
You can't.
You can't. That's part of the reason I have a really hard time envisioning any sort of comeback for the Tigers this season. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, especially once again, to get on some sort of hot streak, you have to have easy wins. And last night was being given to them an easy win. You got 5 guys homer. Dylan Dingler has 2 homers and a double. He almost hit his 3rd. His OPS went up 50 points last night.
It's wild.
Like, you have that type of game from your offense when your offense has just been so dead. We'd mentioned they had 12 hits or 12 runs in 6 games. And then last night they just rip off 10 of them with 14 hits. Like, what an awesome game that they had. And yet, you still almost lost. You can't have those types of games where you almost lose that when you're trying to get on some sort of winning streak. So, yeah, it's definitely something that is going to have to be a extended sample size to have any faith that the Tigers are going to get on a hot streak. But at least the bats came to play last night. Like, that was at least fun to watch. To see the back-to-back-to-back homers, that was pretty great. Kerry Carpenter, a big-time game as well after his short return from the injured list.
Super glad to see Colt Keith get pinch hit again for Jahmai Jones. That was great.
Oh, man.
And then once again, Jahmai Jones gets pinch hit again for Zach Short. I guess he didn't actually get pinch hit. He just got substituted out so that, they could have an infielder. Yeah, look, man, it's pretty hard to celebrate these big-time wins when you're coming off a month that you did in May. It almost doesn't really matter what happens. It does, but you got to have like the opposite month that you did in May to even give yourself a chance to climb out of this thing.
Yeah.
And that feels like an impossibly daunting task for the Tigers.
When it's not even like a celebration of the win, it's just a sigh of relief.
Holy crap, we didn't lose.
Somehow they won a close game. That feels like that's how they've lost every single game against Chicago this past weekend. And that's how they feel like they've lost 2/3 of their games over the last month, was they blow it in some bizarre fashion. And last night, once again, it was headed down that path. And I don't know how the Rays came up 1 run short. It felt like they absolutely were going to score after they put runners on first and second with 1 out after the Hao-Yu Lee play. But at least Hao-Yu Lee made up for it with a home run. I'll give him that.
Got a text that said that 8th inning defensively for the Tigers felt like something that I would have watched my 12U baseball team do. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. It was both that bloop that went to Spencer Torkelson that bounced off his glove. It was the error between Hao-Yu Lee and Kevin McGonigal. It was like we were watching the Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
And when push came to shove, like, yeah, of course they were able to get out and win. But then when it was like, hey, man, like, you won this game. All you got to do is walk through that door right there and close it behind you. It's like the Tigers, like, all of a sudden their shoes were tied together and they couldn't move. It's like, wait a minute, we're about to win? Panic.
We should have put together all the bad defensive plays in that inning clip and just put, like, the circus music underneath it, because that's what it felt like.
You would have thought that was over the course of, like, 2 weeks of baseball. All the same game, all the same inning. Yeah, that's another reason where it's just like, even if the bats get hot, it's hard to quantify or rationalize any sort of real comeback for this Tigers team right now. That's the hardest part about it, man. Like, you were so bad in May that your season's likely over, even if you can put together a nice little winning streak here. Even if you can put together a nice little winning streak. Guess what? You got to do that 3 more times before you even have a slight chance of pulling yourself out of this hole.
And, like, you basically have to match it up across the month. Like, you have to make up for the month that you just had in May with the entire month of June, when we all know the entire month of June we are going to be spending talking about Tarek Skubal. You know?
Yeah.
Especially if he's returning pretty soon as well. So that's the most difficult part. If they continue to go on a win streak here and get things back, it's not really going to matter unless it is drastic.
What do you think about Benetti and them just being so giddy in the booth yesterday? Oh, we won it. It's like the greatest thing of all time. Like, what if they just get hot in June? It's a new month. Turn the page. This is great. Because I felt like,
what are they supposed to do, though?
I know. I'm just asking what you thought of that, because I thought it was a little bit like it was like they didn't see the first 2 months of the season. They were just like, this is what the Tigers do. Every time you think they're dead, they come alive. And it was like, no, this team still stinks. I was getting a little frustrated with that. It was a little too much.
I do agree with you in the fact that, like, we can't sit here and act like this is some amazing act that they won a baseball game.
Yeah.
But I also think it does help. Like, it almost feels a little bit sarcastic in the fact that, like, celebrating a win is what it, like, that's how big it is to actually get a win to start a month. You know, with the way that they've been playing across May, it's almost a sarcastic, like, oh, they finally won. They won a game. It's a big-time win. It's almost like saying, yeah, they were so bad in May that this is how we are reacting to finally winning a game.
989-837-6125. It's the Ben Bosscher Show. What is it going to take for you to have any sort of life to believe in this team? Because If you asked Jason Benetti if he was doing the show with us, he'd say, I think you should believe right now. And I love Benetti. I think he's one of the best play-by-play guys we have in all of sports.
I love the Riley Green homer call yesterday. It was so good.
Saving all the home runs for June. Yeah, like this is, he would tell you to believe in this team because time and time again, we've written off the Tigers and they found a way to shock us all. I don't think I can get there as of right now. I think I'm too scarred from what happened in May. And like 3/4 of the way through May, I didn't believe that. I really thought they could pull themselves out of it. And then that last stretch where it was Angels, White Sox, can't pick up a series win against either of them. It's like, okay, man, you lost me. You lost me when you lost the series to the Angels. Sorry, but you did. So I'm going to opt out of jumping on the June optimism train. What has to happen for you to jump back on the Tigers bandwagon at any point this year? Because as of right now, I'm still operating under the umbrella that Scuba will be gone at the deadline. They will miss the playoffs, and they'll have to reassess everything, hopefully with an entire new front office. What's it going to take for you? 989-837-6125. The 10 o'clock hour is brought to you by Aired Insurance. Tired of your insurance being in a worse position than your fantasy football team in week 3? Yikes. Aired Insurance steps in like a clutch pinch hitter and gets you in a better insurance position with coverage that actually fits your life. Give them a follow on social media. You'll learn something, maybe laugh a little, and definitely stop overpaying for insurance that's striking out.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
Kyle, give me your best shot, your best guess at Fangraphs odds for the Tigers to make the playoffs.
Oh, and this is on a percentage scale?
It is.
I will go with 32%.
Oh, wow.
Is that way too high?
Way too high.
I figured maybe it's only June. I don't know.
11.4.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was way too high.
Honestly, Kyle, like higher than I would have even guessed.
What would you have thought?
I would have guessed like 5. This team's 15 games under 500, and it's June. Most teams 15 games under 500.
June. They could win 20 games in a row. Not this
with
team.
this bullpen, with this defense, I don't know. Even with the players that come back in return from injury, when Glaber and Javi are back, even when Scooble's back, it's like that doesn't fix the bullpen or the defensive problems that this team has on a daily basis. 11.4 seems high. It's like they still think that they're the preseason Tigers, which, look, man, I hung on to that thread as long as I could, and eventually we reached a point where it was like this team just has a weird funk to them, a weird smell to them all year long, where even the games that they are supposed to take care of business in, they can't win those games. And yesterday was a prime example of that. You have a 5-run lead going into the 8th inning, and you somehow manage to blow almost all of it, and you luckily are able to get out of it in the 9th inning, but it was like that took everything out of you to hold on to a 5-run lead. How am I supposed to believe in that sort of team, even after a win, where it's like, yeah, we won. It's hard to even feel great about it, though.
Yeah. Well, I think the one reason why this is probably still as high as it is at 11%, at least into double digits, they're only 6.5 games back from the wild card spot right now. Like it's less of the American League Central's so bad. No, it's really not that bad compared to the league as a whole.
Yeah, the American League is the thing that's just
the American League
bad.
is terrible. You got the Yankees / the Rays. One of those teams is just absolutely going to be a wild card team. The White Sox are the second wild card team right now. They're 4 games above 500, and then after that, it is all teams below 500. Like the final wild card team is a tie between Toronto and Texas, and they're 2 games under 500. Both of them are. No, I think
it's crazy that they're the worst record team in the American League and yet are only 6.5 games
exactly.
out. It's so weird to me.
So that's probably why it is the way it is. Now, I do think that it being June, there's a correction to be made for the teams that are 500 as well, like the teams like Toronto and who we thought were going to have good years this year. Maybe even Oakland or Sacramento or, whatever they are.
The homeless A's.
The Athletics and Texas. Like those teams all had some sort of expectation coming into this year where they're
Boston.
probably... Yeah, well, Boston a little bit different since they fired their manager and everyone's kind of underperforming. But even like Houston, like those teams will probably at some point start to separate themselves. Whereas this current Tigers team, which yes, they also had expectation coming into this year, but similar to Boston, everybody's underperforming. So is there any hope there? Whereas those other teams that are at 500, you got to figure at some point Toronto figures it out, right? I mean, you have to assume that. And so that's why that 11% number is where it is. But the Tigers would have to cut that 6.5 number to 3 in 2 weeks probably to have any sort of like, okay, maybe there's a chance. And cutting that number to 3 is not as simple as winning 3 games. You have to win. You have to win probably 10 of 14, something like that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this Tigers team has the 3rd worst run differential in the American League. In terms of runs allowed, this is of the wild card team, so not including the division winners. They're 5th. And of the runs scored, they're 3rd from the bottom. So it's just like and they don't win road games.
Yeah.
They just don't win road games.
Like, that's the thing. This team just isn't good. That's the reason why you're not confident in it. It's not even the fact that, they're 15 games under in this or that, the division or this. No, the team just isn't good. I think Gary puts it best in our YouTube chat. Tigers held a 15-game division lead last year and lost it. So it can happen, but we have a crappy team, so unlikely.
Yeah, the thing is, like, even if everybody comes back and this team significantly improves, the Vest, Finnegan, Kenley Jansen trio is just not one that should be trusted in the later stages of a game. Like, man, a 5-run lead isn't safe with this team. Anything short of 8 runs, it's like, we got to see what happens here in the 8th inning because I don't trust any of these guys.
Yeah.
Like, the fall off of Will Vest is I don't know what happened to this guy.
Exactly.
Kenley Jansen, I feel like Father Time finally caught up to him. They say Father Time's undefeated. Well, it finally got Kenley Jansen after years and years of fighting it off. And Finnegan, last year seems like more of the exception to his career than what's happening this year, when there's been a fall off after he had maybe the best half of his.
He hasn't even been that bad this year. He's just been bad in the ninth inning.
Yeah, right.
Like when he's been put in the closer role, he's been bad. And then
you mean the most important inning for a closer?
Exactly. And then you talk about, all the unreliability on the pitching staff side of things. This offense is also extremely unreliable. I mean, yeah, they put up 10 runs last night. Okay, they put up 12 in their previous 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
So the offense doesn't bring it on a nightly basis, and then the bullpen never brings it. And then depending on who the starting pitcher is, they probably don't have it either. How is that team supposed to win 10 of 12?
I don't think they are.
Yeah.
That's the problem. 11.4% though, it's better than I would have guessed. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
It's better than I would have guessed it was. To win the division, it's only 6.2. To clinch a wild card, it's 5.2. That's how you add up to the 11.4.
So if this was instead of fan graphs, this was the Ben graphs, what are you giving them? You're not taking any analytics or stats into this because clearly this is all a computer that is creating these outcomes.
Right.
Just in your brain, their percentage to make the playoffs.
4.7. You?
So specific. Yeah, I think it's probably somewhere just south of 10%. Higher than what you've got. I would probably say an 8% chance.
We're 2 months away from the deadline.
Going to be a lot of talk about that over the next couple of months. Unless they get hot, which honestly, them getting hot almost makes it worse.
I know.
For the deadline talk, not just in general.
Oh, my God, what are they actually going to do here?
Yeah, because then if they
what
do
is
get
Scott
hot,
Harris going to do to screw things up?
If they do get hot, we're going to convince ourselves that, they don't have to trade Skubal. What if they continue this for the last 2 months of the year and they sneak into the playoffs? And
I want them to win every game they play, but that right there is probably nightmare scenario
yes.
where you're 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, 4 games under 500 the last week of July, and it's selling right now would suck. But buying doesn't guarantee anything.
Exactly. And wasting out on the biggest, asset you have in Tarek Skubal, that sounds bad. Esco is describing exactly how I feel on a night-to-night basis. Our strength was supposed to be our pitching. Fromber has been terrible. The bullpen is an absolute joke, and if it wasn't for McGonigal, I wouldn't pay any attention to them. At least you got McGonigal. And you got Dylan Dingler.
Best catcher in the AL, some are saying. Not everybody. Rob from Saginaw says, my question is, Ben, are you not going to be going to Comerica Park anymore this summer to watch his team? Cheap tickets, probably, besides when the Dodgers come to town. I will say you can't beat a day/a night at the ballpark with some beers and your friends. Yeah, but if that's all the Tigers are there for, then that's a problem. I can do that in a minor league stadium for significantly less value.
You're talking, just beers and friends in nice weather?
And sitting outside at if I'm going there to socialize and not just watch a baseball game, okay, we got problems. I want to go to, if I'm going to spend the amount of money it takes to go to a Tigers game, even with cheap tickets, but the price of beer, I want to watch a good baseball team,
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I have seen this take, though, no one's going to go to Comerica Park the rest of the year. I think they will. People just go to baseball games. It's just a thing you do.
I don't know, man. If this team if they're on pace for 50, 60 wins, I don't think there's going to be a lot of people there in the heat of July when it's 100 degrees outside. Post deadline, if they decide to be sellers and it's this team's going to have somewhere between 60 and 70 wins, nobody's going to the games.
That's fair. Up until that point, though, the weekend games and stuff, people are still going.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to another game?
I've got plans to go to a game here in a couple of weeks.
So, yes, you sound so excited about it.
I'm just thrilled. I'm super excited to go see this team.
You get to go watch A.J. Hinch, take out Ty Madden in the third inning.
Super excited to see my blood pressure just rise for 3 straight hours. I can't wait. 989-837-6125. Crane's L&M Appliance Center has been serving the Tri-City area with quality home appliances, from refrigerators and washers to stoves and dishwashers, backed by friendly, knowledgeable staff that you can count on. They make getting the right appliance easy with delivery, professional installation, haul away from your old unit, and even financing options to fit your budget. Stop in Crane's L&M Appliance Center today and discover dependable brands and great value for every room in your home.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on one. Built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is time for us to take a trip around the league.
It's time to zoom out and go around the league.
All right, so yesterday we took a look at 100 days, 100 storylines. until the NFL season, or just like 100, just basically 100 things to know. And they break it up into groups of 10. Yesterday, we did the group that was bold predictions. The one after that is best bets. Would you like to do that, or would you like me to keep reading, see what else tickles your fancy for this? We got 10 position
we did
battles.
Bold predictions, right? You said?
Mm-hmm. We've got 5 underrated rookies. We've got second-year jumps. We've got fantasy sleepers. What do you want?
Fantasy sleepers. You know, I did my first fantasy football mock draft the other day.
5
Pretty
most
crazy
improved teams.
in June. I'll probably do. I want to hear the best bets. Let's do best bets.
Okay. All right, the 10 best bets for this year's NFL.
I'm assuming these are like season-long props.
Correct. There's a couple week ones in here as well. 1 week one. All right. Bet number 1. The Arizona Cardinals to have under 4.5 wins, which almost guarantees you to have the worst record in football, especially this year. Drafting Jeremiah Love at number 3 signals a full reset, but a rookie running back doesn't fix a roster with major flaws that finished with 3 wins last year and ranked towards the bottom in rushing, offense consistency, and defensive metrics. Love can help an offense in desperate need of explosiveness, but it's still a rebuilding team. Yeah, I think either them or Miami is going to be the worst team in the league. I just don't like, especially if Brissett ends up holding out, which he'll probably end up playing eventually. It is funny that one team in that division is trading for Myles Garrett, and one team is having a quarterback hold out over $20 million on it.
A backup quarterback, essentially.
Yeah, backup quarterback is holding out and they can't get it done. Yeah, man, I really wish they would have taken anybody else but Jeremiah Love, because I don't think they're going to be able to utilize his talents this year. I'll take this under 4.5 wins for minus 150.
I agree. I just do wonder. There's always like a consensus team going into the year that everyone's like, oh, that team is going to stink, right?
Last year it was the Saints.
How often does that team actually go under? You know? Yeah, because the Saints certainly didn't.
Saints got hot towards the end of the year.
They won like 7 games, I think.
And they lucked their way into Tyler Shook being not halfway that bad.
Wait, is that lucky? They drafted him.
Sure, I guess it's not lucky, but I don't think Arizona has an out with their quarterback. You know? Like,
they drafted Carson Beck. I'm with you on the under, by the way. I just think it's interesting because it feels like they are the consensus. Oh, yeah, that team's going to suck. It's either them or Miami that everyone feels that way about. But, yeah, I'm with you. There's no way this team wins 5 games. 5 games is way too many. I might even take the alt under 3.5.
Wow.
Does this team win 4 games? I don't know.
I mean, they didn't last year.
Yeah.
To win less than 4 games back-to-back seasons.
Especially a team that, like, I know tanking doesn't happen in the NFL. But a team that very clearly is searching for their next franchise quarterback, getting the first overall pick would be pretty awesome for them.
In a year where there is a ton of first-round quarterbacks that are going to be drafted.
Yes, like that. I would want to be owning the first pick if I'm the Cardinals, which aka means losing a lot of games.
Next bet, Bengals to win the NFC North, plus 210.
Really?
Plus 210. Baltimore's the favorite. Since he's number 2. As if Joe Burrow can stay healthy, it's just too big of an if for me at this point. I can't do it with this Bengals team and just hoping for health.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Traded for Dexter Lawrence, lost Trey Hendrickson, which makes them better.
Rival.
Yeah, exactly. Like, do they end up better or worse in that scenario? I don't necessarily know. I think Lawrence is a great player. They also didn't have their first-round pick utilized, though, in the situation with trading for him. So I don't, hate it. You know, the Ravens are kind of just being written in as like, oh, they'll bounce back. They'll be fine. They're obviously going to win that division, which might be a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, first-time head coach, somebody who's never done it. Lamar didn't look the same last year.
They just had a bad year in general.
I'm just not willing to put any U.S. dollar on Joe Burrow at this point.
It's not even Joe Burrow. It's just that team.
And it's not even just the injury concerns. It's crappy organization top down. It just is.
That's
a team
saying.
that did luck their way into Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. They happened to get the number 1 overall pick in a year where you had a quarterback who was going to be able to make it, and then the quarterback convinced you to take the receiver instead of offensive. And it's just, there's not a lot of else you can point to that have been good moves or good decisions for this team since then.
100%. Yeah, I probably would stay away from this one. I think they could be a wild card team, though. Like, if things go right for them, their offense should be good enough.
Cardinals and Chargers under 45 points week 1.
Man, they hate the Cardinals.
Who's writing this?
Who's betting this? That's what
a week 1 under.
We are already looking at week 1 unders on June 1st, June 2nd. Whew. For this game of any of them. So what's the
Chargers
logic
in the
here?
top 10 last year against the run and allowed the second fewest red zone touchdowns. Quarterback questions in the run game. Hitting a brick wall means field goals and more field goals for the Arizona Cardinals.
Are we ruling out the Chargers just win this game like 38-7 and it goes over? Like, what if the Chargers score enough points?
Let me look at the week 1 scores from last year and see if there's any, because I feel like there are some teams that just it's warm weather.
Yeah,
their
it's week
offense
1.
just kind of lights everybody up early on.
Or it could be the opposite, whereas like, we haven't really found a for sure groove yet. We didn't play as a group much in preseason as far as the starters go. So that could also be the play here. But they also have Mike McDaniel coming in as their offensive coordinator. He likes to score a lot of points.
That is true. Kind of known for scoring points early on.
70 of them he did
Yeah,
once.
there's actually a lot of high-scoring games early on in the season. I would stay away from this bet.
Yeah, 2 Cardinals bets in the first 3 picks. I'm out on that.
Even the Steelers scored 34 points last year, and the Jets, who scored
the
32.
Steelers Jets, right? It was that game.
No, I don't want anything to do with this. David Montgomery over 774.5 total rushing yards this season. Here's my problem. I made this exact same bet last year, and he fell like 3 yards short of it. So, no thank you. I'm scarred. In theory, he gets way more volume than he has in the last few years, but that Texans offensive line was not very good last year. So, no, I'm good.
Man, I think I would take this. I think I do like the over here. Like, he just is going to be their running back, right?
Yeah.
Woody Marks was their guy last year strictly because he ended up being the only healthy guy at some point in the year. He was a rookie that clearly was unreliable. It's the staying healthy thing, and that's the tough part with doing running back season-long bets because a lot of them just don't stay fully healthy throughout an entire season.
Yeah, they're going to miss some time.
They just are going to, so that's the tough part about it. I still like it, though. I think I would take the over.
I don't even know how this is a bet. Dak Prescott to be the next player to record a 400-plus yard passing game. Plus 1,000.
What?
Cowboys play Washington week 2. Boom. Just like that.
So nobody's going to do it in week 1. Okay.
I mean, think about it, too, though. Like, the Cowboys have essentially said, we're not running the football. We're just not going to do it. We're going to throw the ball 50 times a game with Dak. So it makes sense that he's the next guy to do it.
When do the Bengals play the Ravens? That's my question because those games always seem to be massive shootouts, and Burrow would be my pick there. They play the Ravens not till week 7.
Yeah, I don't mind
Tampa
this
week
then.
1, Cincy Tampa, though? Could he light up Tampa Bay? Like, I think Burrow is probably the guy who you would think about for this.
Him or Dak, yeah.
Yeah. Sure, why not? This is an odd bet.
Chargers over 10.5 wins. Plus 134. I love this, dude. I really do. I love the coaching staff with Harbaugh and McDaniel. I love the quarterback more than most in Herbert. I thought he was honest. Like, I thought he climbed the quarterback ladder last year, even though the team didn't have a ton of success. But just playing the way that he did, putting up the numbers he did, the Chargers winning as many regular season games as they did with that offensive line and how disastrous it was, I think proved Herbert's a top 5 quarterback in the league. Even though he still doesn't have a playoff win to his resume, I just couldn't believe how good he was with a bad offensive line last year. Now you get Rashawn Slater back. You get, who's the other guy?
Joe Alt.
Yeah, Joe Alt back. 2 of your starting tackles.
Amari Hampton, who was your first-round running back last year.
Going into year 2. Yeah, I'm all in on Chargers to win 10-plus games.
I think so, too. This offense should be extremely fun, and their defense was pretty good last year as well. It feels like they have one of the more elite coaching staffs in the NFL. They, of course, lose Jesse Minter, which is a big deal because he was widely known as probably a top 5 coordinator last year. So that obviously plays a big role here, but you still have Harbaugh and you bring in Mike McDaniel. Yeah, I think I'm cool with this one as well.
Raiders under 6.5 wins. Yikes. 3 wins last year. Can they really more than double their win total? I think they've got a lot of good vibes going on right now. You know, you bring in Mendoza, it's a feel-good story, but at the end of the day, it's a team that had 3 wins last year.
And it feels like if you're going to take the over on the Chargers, you kind of have to take the under on somebody here. This division is just so difficult to predict. Like, how big of a bounce back are the Chiefs going to have? How big of a dip are the Broncos going to have?
I think the Chiefs finish second or first. I think the Chargers finish second or first, and I think that Denver finishes third. The Raiders probably because of the division, I think I'd probably still just go under with the Raiders.
Probably, yeah.
Stafford, under 30.5 passing touchdowns. Stafford averaged fewer than 2 touchdowns per contest for 3 straight years prior to 2025. Addition of Adams, who accounted for 30% of Stafford's touchdowns last season, helped boost that to 2.7 scores per game. Regression, however, is the name of the game, and with little depth behind Puka Nacua and Adams, Stafford's numbers are likely to take a dip this season.
I don't know. I mean, they laid it out for us. Yeah, he was 3 straight years with under 2 touchdowns per game until they got Davante Adams. Guess who's still on the Rams? Davante Adams. The little 1-yard slant flick throw to Davante Adams,
who's creeping up on age 34.
It became it was unstoppable last year. It was like the tush push, but it was a pass.
What if Puka's not playing though? What if he's just I think still in Hawaii in rehab?
I'm pretty sure he is playing. I don't like this one. I'm taking the over 30.5.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I probably just wouldn't touch that.
Yeah.
Here's another week 1 line. 49ers Rams under 48.5 in Australia.
Okay, see, this one's a little better than just doing the random Cardinals Chargers one. Yeah, this makes more sense.
Is this the Wednesday game or is this the Thursday game?
This is the Thursday game because they have to start the season with the Super Bowl. They get the dibs to the first game. This is the Australia game. There's no way that they score a ton of points, right? I mean, just with playing in a weird spot like that, there's just no chance. I'm totally with this one.
Yeah, I'm there. Although 2 theoretically high-powered offenses still does not scare me. Last one, Mark Andrews over 474 receiving yards.
Oh, man.
Checks notes, he's still with Baltimore.
Our number is that low these days for Mark Andrews. What a tough fall-off it's been.
No more Isaiah Likely, though, right?
Yeah, he went to the New York Football Giants, yeah.
I guess. I'm also just not making a season-long bet on a
Mark
guy
Andrews?
Who's 30 years old. Oh, man, that's an old 30.
He's already had a pretty steep fall off. Yeah, I think you might have to call the hotline if you're doing anything season long Mark Andrews wagers.
I didn't even still think he was on the Ravens. I had to question. I was like, which team is he on? Still the Ravens. All right, that is around the league. Looking for a steady hand when it comes to your financial future? Meet Kevin Spencer with Edward Jones right here in our community. He takes the time to understand what matters most to you and helps build a strategy to get you there. Reach out to Kevin Spencer at Edward Jones today because your goals deserve a plan that's personal.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100. Built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
Let's take another peek at our Tuesday tower here just to make sure we're not missing anything. So it's non-quarterbacks in the NFC. At the very top, we have the monster, Myles Garrett, now that he has made his way over to this conference that shares teams with the Lions, I guess is what I'm trying to say there. Just unfortunate, man. It's just like, yeah, I know. I know what I said to open up the show. I'm not saying I would have traded for him if I'm the Lions. I don't think it was possible. But, like, man, I got to play Michael Parsons now twice a year, and now potentially Myles Garrett in the playoffs too. Just, I wish he would have got traded to the AFC. It's just some other team, man.
Yeah, quite happy that the Rams are not on the Lions' schedule this year. You know who's got to play them, though, in the division? Green Bay.
Oh, they do. The two guys play each other.
Yeah. Sucks for them.
Myles Garrett, the monster at the top. The Mammoths, Penei Sewell and Michael Parsons, each of which just like kind of came into the league as prodigies of some sort, just guys that hit the ground running and never really looked back, both of which have had so much success for how young their careers really are. 3 first-team All-Pros in their first 5 seasons, which is an incredible accomplishment for both edge rushers and offensive tackles, and anybody for that matter. The weapons group, Amon-Ra, Puka Nacua, Justin Jefferson. And then the luxurious items, Christian McCaffrey, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, and Aiden Hutchinson being a part of this as well. Your first thought was, where's JSN? My thought was, He needs to do it for 2 years before he passes St. Brown or Puka Nacua or Justin Jefferson. Because these guys have been at it for multiple years. And I think Jackson Smith-Njigba just needs to do it for 2 years in a row before I'm ready to put him on this list. Is that fair? Or am I discrediting something really special that was done last year?
The logic makes sense, like just based off of everyone else that's on this list. Like, sure, it makes sense that the rest of the guys have done it. I think the counter would be, when could have JSN done it for multiple years? Like, it's not his fault he hasn't. Last year was the true first year of being the top weapon for Seattle, whereas these other guys have just been the top weapon on their team for multiple years, obviously.
Yeah, by going and earning it, though. Like, Amon-Ra was a fourth-round pick.
Like, so JSN didn't earn it? I don't really get that take.
No, I don't. It's not that he didn't earn it. He's just got to do it for multiple years in a row. Because I think he was way better this past year than he has been in years past. I don't think it was a volume thing. I think it was he was better and was getting the ball a lot more. And then I just have the running backs below all the wide receivers simply because it's not as valued of a position, and that's why this tier is called the luxury items. Because if you have one of these amazing running backs, it's like a luxury, not a necessity to be good. So that's where CMC, McCaffrey, CMC, Gibbs, and Bijan come in. And then I threw Hutchinson on this list, on this tier as well, because I think that 10th spot could have been argued for a lot of different guys. But ultimately, I think edge rusher, obviously, the most valued position there is defensively, the third most valued position there is outside of quarterback and wide receiver. So you lean towards one of those guys. And he's been exceptional enough to earn that spot on that list, I think. Where even though Lions fans like to complain that he doesn't finish plays, even though checks notes, third most amount of sacks in the last 3 years, even though he has missed 12 games in 2024. That's amongst NFC players, by the way.
Is it something to be said that there's only 3 defensive guys on here? Because I'm not saying I disagree. It's just, this is the spot that the league is in. You have these 3 great edge rushers in this conference, with now Myles Garrett joining it, Micah Parsons, Aiden Hutchinson, and then everyone else is, outside of Penei Sewell, a guy who has the football.
Sure. Yeah. It's 6 of the 10 players. 4 of them don't have the football. 5 of them or 6 of them do. Like, are you just saying that there's more offense is more important? In the NFL?
That's just something I'm asking, because the whole point of this is non-quarterbacks, and so all of those other players are directly affected by the quarterback. Getting them the football or handing them the football, whatever way you want to say. Whereas the other guys are the opposite. Penei Sewell's a guy who does everything for the quarterback, and the edge rushers, which you do have. 3 of those guys higher than the other wide receivers. It's not like Puka is at the top of this thing or anything. And I don't think anybody's arguing that Myles Garrett shouldn't be the top guy. I just think it's interesting that only 3 defensive players make this, and they're all edge rushers as well, whereas the offense is kind of tossed around a little bit.
And it's funny because scoring has gone down in the NFL 3 consecutive years. So you would think, it's right, we're trending towards a defense where, the stars of this league are still on the offensive side of the football. It takes a tremendous amount of scheme work, I think, defensively to slow down the stars.
And with Seattle winning the Super Bowl, too, it felt like everybody was talking about, okay, this is a defensive league. Like a team that just had Sam Darnold as its quarterback won the Super Bowl kind of effortlessly. And that was because of their amazing defense and just the different tactics that they used defensively that were non-traditional. The blitz packages that they bring and just some of the confusion that they bring on the defensive side of the ball. Yet there's only 3 non-NFC QBs that make this list that play defense.
I think with defense right now, and Seattle's a good example, is you need to have a great coach, you need to have a great scheme, and everyone needs to be playing, like in sync. Everyone needs to be having the same thoughts at the same time, like processing what's happening, knowing what to do in unison. Whereas you look at some of these offensive players, and it's just like, yeah, man, just getting the ball to Justin Jefferson will fix a lot of your issues. Handing the ball off to Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan Robinson, it's just going to fix a lot of your issues because those guys are special enough on their own rather than like the team itself to be special and go carry their team through pretty big time situations, Yeah. I still think the stars and the best impact players are on offense, even though the defensive units and schemes and coaching has probably caught up to the offense in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. JSN, probably the biggest miss from this list, though.
I think I can agree with that. Tristan Wirfs, maybe too. But I think it would have been tough to have 2 offensive linemen on this list.
Wirfs is great. Like, no doubt about it, the second best tackle in the NFC.
Yeah, I would say JSN's probably the first guy off of this list. I also didn't want to have I didn't want to have all weapons, I didn't want to have all skill guys that get the football.
Sure.
So I think Hutchinson has earned his way onto this list after last season where he truly was one of the 3 or 4 best defensive players we had in football last year. By the time the season was done.
Yeah.
All right, 989-837-6125. Want to get more people's thoughts on the Myles Garrett trade that went down yesterday. It was one of those trades that I didn't believe when it happened. We were out to lunch. Somebody said, hey, Myles Garrett just got traded. And he said it so casually where I was like, no, he didn't. Don't do that. And ironically, it was the same person, Carlos, who told me that Luka Doncic got traded
Seriously?
2 years ago. Yeah, he was the one. I was with him both times, and he just kind of looked up. He goes, wait, Luka got traded. And I was like, no, he didn't. You're getting AI'd. You're getting Centell'd.
Yeah.
And sure enough, on both occasions, I was just totally wrong. No, it was 100% real. So I want to get Lions fans' reactions on this because I don't think it's been very proper up to this point, and I want to see if I can change some Lions fans' minds. See the difference at Midland Eye Care, where your vision is their focus, offering comprehensive eye exams, glasses, contacts, and advanced eye health services. Friendly, knowledgeable staff, and a wide selection of stylish frames for every face and budget. Book your appointment today and start seeing clear tomorrow at Midland Eye Care. You guys can see us live here on the YouTube side of things. Subscribe if you have not yet already. We'll be right back with some Myles Garrett talk. I want to see if I can talk some Lions fans off a cliff.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. They know.
The Electric Studios. This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mid. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
All right, I'm back. Welcome in, everybody. 11 o'clock hour on the way. Obviously, yesterday, the big story of the day was Myles Garrett being moved over to the Rams for Jared Verse, a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a third-round pick. And Lions fans freak out. Why is Brad Holmes not doing this? They're so jealous. Brad Holmes needs to make an all-in move. Ugh. Okay, cool. It's so easy to envy the team running a Madden simulation year in, year out. Over the last 10 years, what have the Rams done with their first-round picks? Well, they drafted Jared Goff, traded him. Drafted Jared Verse, traded him. And that's it. Ty Simpson, the other one. But that wasn't even their own first-round pick. They don't use their first-round picks, ever. Ever. So it's fun to envy that team that does that and runs a Madden simulation and it actually works. But I don't understand why the Lions fans are so obsessed with this operation and none others. Oh, look what the Rams are doing. They're going all in. How many times has it worked out? One time, which is more times than the Lions, to be fair. But why are we not doing the same thing to Seattle? Seattle has a bunch of homegrown talent that they drafted, whether it's JSN, whether it's Witherspoon, Eamon Warrior, like all their players that helped them win a Super Bowl, most of them were homegrown. So I'm failing to understand why Lions fans aren't taking the same approach to Seattle, right? I'm failing to understand why it's an obsessiveness with the Rams. Is it to do with the Stafford trade? Is it to do with just the fact that they make this all-in move all the time? I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it does have something to do with the Stafford trade. I don't know. But it feels like everyone is just crowning the Rams off-season winners. They've done it again. They've made an all-in move. Last year, NFL.com's off-season winners were the Vikings, the Commanders, and the Raiders, all of which missed the playoffs last year. So I'm not just going to sit here and say, the season's over, wrap it up, the Rams have won it all, congratulations to them, give them the Lombardi trophy now. I'm not doing that, guys. Let's let this season play out. Hand out the trophy in February, not June. I'm not doing that right now, okay? So I'm going to look at the evaluation that Brad Holmes has had and not compare it to one person, but everyone else amongst the NFL GMs. I still think Brad Holmes is a pretty damn good GM. Really good. And is it fair for him to take notes on Les Snead and the way he's doing things? Sure. But it's not just let's take notes on what Les Snead's doing and ignore it. No, he should be taking notes on all the good GMs and all the bad GMs to learn from their mistakes. And most of the time, guys, when you trade a first-round pick, it often doesn't work out. The teams that have and let's throw Jared Verse as an additional first-round pick because he was a first-round pick who's still on his rookie contract. Teams that have thrown out multiple first-round picks, Colts, Sauce Gardner. Yeah, I do bet they regret that. Green Bay, they did it last offseason. Their guy ended up tearing his ACL. Denver did it with Russell Wilson. They traded 2 first-round picks for him. That's about as brutal as it can possibly get. You know, it doesn't always work out when you traded multiple first-round picks. The Browns with Deshaun Watson traded multiple first-round picks. How'd that work out? So instead of saying, guess what, Brad Holmes isn't this one other GM, look at the 31 other GMs that it's not just unique to Brad Holmes that he's not making an all-in move. The other 30 GMs, other than Brad Holmes and Les Snead, would crap their pants at the thought of trading 10 first-round picks in a row. Nobody's doing that other than the Rams. This isn't a specific, the Lions don't do it. Nobody does it other than the Rams. Because nobody else, I don't think anybody else is capable of figuring it out. And if that makes Les Snead better than everybody else, I guess that is what it is. But Les Snead also doesn't win Super Bowls year in, year out, year in, year out. He won one. And congratulations. And they're attempting to do it again in the exact same way. But it's not the only way to win a Super Bowl. And the Lions, the way that they have drafted, the way that they have developed, and the way that they have been able to retain their talent, I do think they've put themselves in a great situation to win the Super Bowl this year. Are the Rams the favorites? Yes, they are. We do not crown the champions in June, though. And by the way, only one preseason favorite has won a Super Bowl since Tom Brady has left New England, which at this point is forever ago. So no, I don't think the season's over. I'm not mad about what happened, because if you are going to be mad about what happened and the Lions weren't in on this, you got to tell me what the package was, because it wasn't going to be Aiden Hutchinson. It wasn't going to be anybody who had already been paid. I don't know who it is. Jack Campbell's my next best guess, even though now he's been paid. And also, the Browns already have an Defensive Rookie of the Year type of linebacker in Jack Schwessenberger, or whatever his name is. So, I'm not exactly sure what package the Lions could have put together to get Myles Garrett. I have my case.
Look, I will say, comparing this trade to all of those trades you just named off, Sauce Gardner and Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson to Myles Garrett, I mean,
okay, the Wilson
uncomparable.
The Wilson and Watson ones were, those guys were.
This
traded.
Is Myles Garrett we're talking about. Like, what are we talking about?
Okay,
here?
but the Russell Wilson was one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the league at the time he got traded. They did that to win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson. The Browns traded away 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson because he was one of the 3 to 4 best quarterbacks in the NFL.
And Myles Garrett's one of the 3 to 4 best defensive players ever.
I understand. Go on.
I just think, like, comparing to those situations, be like, oh, those didn't work out. Like, this is Myles Garrett getting traded to the team that was already the second favorite coming into the season, I believe. I think they were right behind Seattle coming in, and now it's been shifted. They might have even been the favorite. I can't really remember what it was.
They were the favorites.
They already were the favorites pre that.
Yes.
So already Super Bowl favorites where none of those teams were, and now they've added the best player of our generation defensively. Like, I think this is a much different situation. And I understand, like, yeah, you're trying to compare it to the Lions thing, and I get that. Like, the Lions aren't in a situation. They don't have the MVP of the league playing quarterback. Like, that's not who they have. They don't have the LA spotlight that goes with acquiring stars. So, of course, it's a different situation. But to say, like, would I have given up a Jack Campbell and multiple draft picks to acquire Myles Garrett? Hell yeah, I would have. It's Myles Garrett. Like, I think sometimes we overthink the future and all the sustained success, and we want to make sure we have good players. He's too young. He's coming off an all-pro season. Myles Garrett just broke the damn sack record. We want to talk about coming off a great season. Like, that's what I'm going to look at. The Rams just are, they want to do everything possible to, with this window of Matt Stafford winning the MVP last year, they want another one. They already got their one doing it this way, so why not do it again? And I get the point about Seattle. It's fair, because that's the way that they did it, and the Lions are choosing to do it differently. But it worked for the Rams. So for them to, the Lions fans to be upset that they're not taking that path that the Rams are taking.
That only one team across the league is taken, though. That's
just named off 5 different trades that teams were trying to do it that way.
And it's failed those other times.
But it's a path that teams have tried. Like, you're acting like the Rams are the only team that have made a big trade. The Packers just did the same thing last year.
And the verdict's out on whether or not that has worked out for them, because they didn't have first-round picks.
But let's not like the Rams are the only team making big trades.
It's the only team that has made big-time trades and it worked out in their favor. Like, the reigning champions traded for Rashid Shaheed last year at the deadline. Like,
yeah, and he returned a kick for a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
That's true. It doesn't require some blockbuster deal to win a Super Bowl, though, and right now it feels like Lions fans are operating under the umbrella that if Brian Holmes doesn't make some blockbuster deal and trade for a Hall of Famer, it's impossible for them to win a Super Bowl, which is just simply not the case, and it never has been. The Rams are the only team that have done this, and it worked out for them. The other teams that have tried this, it has failed miserably. And the Lions are willing to operate in the Seattle route more so than the Rams route. There's no one way right or wrong versus the other.
Agreed.
You can win a Super Bowl doing either things.
But I do think that there is a lack of, not even lack of urgency, but the fans have urgency, the Lions fans. This is what, year 6 of this Brad Holmes regime, this era of them, and he's done a great job, like you said. There still hasn't been a Super Bowl won, though. And so when there is, you want to play this game of like, okay, they're going to have the sustained success. They're going to use their draft picks. They're not going to go all in to make a blockbuster move. Well, at some point, if it doesn't work for 6 to 8 years, then the fans are going to get that lack of urgency, and they want some big move to push it in a different direction.
When do you think Les Snead was hired? How long do you think it took him to win a Super Bowl?
Couldn't tell you.
2012. So it took him 9 years to win a Super Bowl as the GM. Schneider for Seattle. John Schneider.
He's been there forever, yeah.
When do you think he was hired?
Just say it.
2010. So he actually got it done a little bit sooner. It takes a little bit sometimes, Like even the guys that we're all envying right now in Les Snead, who does the things on different than everybody else. He runs a Madden sim and it works. So kudos to how they're doing it over there. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying it's one way to do it. And 30 other teams are electing to not do it the way that they're doing it. But it takes some time, And I get it. Lions fans are running out of patience. But has there not been way more good than bad with Brad Holmes? Has he not put all pros upon all pros upon all pros onto this team?
For sure. But I think that's the difference between the Lions and the Rams. They care about one thing, and that is winning the Super Bowl. Everything else is a failure. Whereas, we're celebrating all pros.
No, we're not celebrating all pros. It's just a comparison of the rosters to where everyone's writing in the Rams as the best team in the NFC, and I think it's a little closer than people realize. When the Lions team is fully healthy, which is a rarity these days.
Sure.
They've got a lot of talented players that can go toe-to-toe with this Rams team. I mean, they beat the Rams a couple of years ago in the playoffs, for crying out loud, It happens. They can beat this team. They're not unbeatable. I know they lost to them last year, but Seattle beat them. And the path that Seattle took is more similar to what the Lions are taking right now. That's the defending Super Bowl champs. 989-837-6125. Got a guest coming on at 11:30. We'll hit the news when we come back. You do not have to be a pro to get pro-level care, whether you're hitting the gym, the field, or just staying active. Covenant Healthcare Sports Medicine helps you prevent injuries, recover quicker, and do what you love. That is Covenant Healthcare.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.
Oh yeah.
on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, 989-837-6125. That's the number to get a hold of us here on the message line. We're going to hit the news, and then we're going to have a guest on. So here's Kyle Sandel with the Mitt Morning Catch.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
All right, round 2 of the news. Let's take a look at the Covenant Healthcare Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Injury Report. Tonight, Justin Verlander is making a rehab start in Toledo. So we've been talking about the return of Tarek Skubal potentially. The return of Justin Verlander might come first. He's getting finally a full-time rehab start here with the Mud Hens. Assuming that this goes well, I don't see any reason why he can't come off of the injured list and come back and join this Tigers rotation, which, despite all of, how bad this season has gone, I want to watch Verlander pitch in a Tigers uniform, man. Even if they stink, I want to watch that.
I mean, I want to watch him for now. If he's going to continue to be, if it's anything like that first start he had in Arizona, I'm not going to like watching it. But I am anticipating a fun return to Comerica Park, which we still have not gotten. So I'm excited for it. Sure, I think it'd be crazy to say you're not.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's going to be a pretty jam-packed house. I don't know if Toledo's at home or not. If they are, I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of people there. Yeah, it's tonight. So we'll keep a close eye on that, and we will tomorrow come back and let everyone know how that goes. Hopefully it goes well, because, of course, if it goes poorly, then we might run into an Alex Cobb situation where every time he made a rehab start, it went poorly.
And he re-injured himself.
Exactly. Tigers-Rays game 2, though, is at 6:40 tonight. Jack Flaherty against Steven Matz, the lefty. Tigers looking to get 2 straight. Hasn't happened in quite some time. Hopefully they can do it. Okay, let's move to some interesting basketball news. Steph Curry, who left Under Armour quite some time ago and said he wanted to kind of make the Curry brand its own thing, but he still, of course, has to be under some sort of brand to do this. He is signing with the Chinese sportswear company Li Ning. This is also the company that has Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade. They both were Li Ning athletes with their own shoes, the Way of Wades. I don't know if you ever rocked a pair of those. But yeah, Li Ning is where Steph Curry is headed. Still going to have the same Curry logo and everything with his shoes. It's just going to be under a new umbrella.
Had you ever heard of this brand before yesterday?
I have heard of Li Ning because the Way of Wades were a pretty popular shoe in Dwayne Wade's time, and he was the first guy that I knew that was with Li Ning. I think there's been some other guys with it too. So I did know what they were, but I'm definitely not up to date with it by any means.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I saw this. I was like, I don't really know what this is about. I for sure thought he was going to be a Nike guy. I guess he wants to kind of carve his own path with that.
Right. I think that was probably why, because I was just surprised he left Under Armour in general.
Under Armour shoes suck. That's probably why he left them. I was never going to buy a pair of Currys because I don't really mess with those Under Armour shoes at all.
Yeah, me either. I've never rocked a pair of Under Armour shoes. Never had a pair of Steph Curry's either, which I've heard they were nice shoes, but you can't be caught rocking Under Armour. Come on,
I can't wait for the Cades to come out. I think they come out later this year.
Yeah, I think so. They do.
And I'll never have another basketball shoe again in my life. No, I'm not even
no,
kidding.
I'm with you.
I've rocked Kyrie.
What if they're not good, though?
They will be. I've rocked Kyrie's, Giannis's, Paul George's, Jaws. That's what I have right now. I'll never have another signature shoe again in my life. Because for the first time, maybe Grant Hill had some, but that was before shoe deals became as prominent as they are now. We've got a guy who has his own shoe. I'm going to have a pair for just playing outside. I'm going to have a pair for playing inside, a pair to just walk around, a pair for work, a pair for slippers at home. I'm going to have every pair of Cades. I can't wait for them to come out.
That's a good point, because I've been thinking about getting new shoes.
Just hold out.
Yeah, I'm definitely holding out.
When
are these coming out? So he just had he just had one come out on May 20th, but that's not his actual signature shoe, though. That's the official signature shoe line is expected to launch leading up to the 2026-2027 season.
Just make it through one more summer, Kyle.
So sometime this summer, yeah. I don't know. My Aunt Edward's got a big hole in the left shoe, right where I kind of stop and cut a lot. It's becoming uncomfortable. So hopefully that can come sooner rather than later for the Cade shoes. Okay, some bad news for the folks that want Kawhi Leonard traded to the Pistons, because I don't think this is going to help things out here. the Aspiration co-founder, something Sandberg, I don't have his first name, sentenced to 14 years in prison for his involvement in the fake Aspiration company that was basically a money laundering scheme to pay Kawhi Leonard extra money. The tree planting business, whatever it was, 14 years in prison. What's going to happen to Kawhi now? I mean, the fact that it comes down from the law, is there going to be some sort of suspension given out, or is there going to be something to Steve Ballmer and the Clippers? There's probably going to be some sort of penalty to them. I don't know about Kawhi as an individual, but yeah, this is maybe the beginning to be a long off season for the Clippers / Kawhi.
I don't think Kawhi Leonard, I mean, if he gets suspended, I won't be shocked, but I don't think he should be banished from the league from this, because if billionaire comes to you and says, hey, I got a way to get you some extra money, I think Kawhi Leonard's not really, the players aren't really always involved in these negotiations. It's their agents. That's their job to be able to do it. So I think
exactly
he kind of not gets off scot-free, but I don't think his punishment should be very harsh, because if a billionaire's I got a way to get you a little bit extra money under the table, you probably just don't really think all that much of it and say, yes, it's the agent's job to recognize that this is probably a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the agent even saying oh, hey, we're going to invest, we're going to get you involved with this new company in a way to get you some sort of funding. And
exactly.
There was probably wording given to Kawhi that wasn't as bad, and that's probably the stance he can take if this ever does actually reach a legal situation. But the Clippers are probably going to get in some trouble for this, I would assume. Okay, Texas Tech football has been in the news for their quarterback, Brendan Sorsby, the college eligibility. They had a 2-hour hearing, by the way, in their at the Lubbock County District Court to decide the future of Sorsby's future. It's going to happen in the next couple weeks, they say. But a different Texas Tech football thing has come out. Steve Sarkisian made headlines this past weekend calling out Texas Tech's strength of schedule, basically saying that they play nobody. We play Ohio State. I don't know why he was calling them out in the first place. So the Red Raiders head coach Joey McGuire shot back with an open invitation for Texas to come play them in Lubbock this year. And he said, we would love to play Texas. And he is even offering to buy out their games, their non-con games against Texas State and Abilene Christian, who are two,
for
easy
this season?
For this season, to buy those games out to make room on their schedule. They're giving Texas 2 weeks. Say whichever one you want to fit in that schedule, we'll buy them out so that we can play. Well, I guess one of them is against, Abilene Christian is against Texas. Texas State is against Texas Tech, so that they can totally play each other.
What an elite. This is
what a clapback.
No. You know what this is? This is when two aces pop up and you just bet a crazy amount right off rip. You're you just call everyone else out. Who's willing to actually bet with me? Because I think Texas Tech head coach is probably under the assumption they're not actually going to do this.
Exactly.
So
which
I
they're
can just
for
say
sure not.
anything. I'll bring them up. I'll challenge them to whatever. Here's me going all in before the river even flops, And Steve Sarkisian's well, I'm not, I can't just really go to our AD.
I was mainly just calling them out. But.
Yeah, I'm not just going to go to our AD and flip our schedule here right now. So what a great play. It is a 10 out of 10 poker move from Texas A&M side.
Hey, but this would really work out for Abilene Christian and Texas State if you're getting paid to play those teams for an auto loss and then you just don't even actually end up having to play them. That'd work out in their favor. So awesome. Shout out to the smaller schools there. A couple more things here in the news. The Magic are finalizing a deal. This happened this weekend, actually. I just forgot to mention it yesterday, so I wanted to today. Finalizing a deal to hire Spurs assistant head coach Sean Sweeney as their next head coach. Of course, there was rumors about Dusty May to the Magic as soon as the Pistons ended their season. It sounded like Billy Donovan was going to be their target as soon as he stepped away from the Bulls. But instead, they're going to the young, up-and-coming Sean Sweeney of the Spurs, who was he's kind of the guy that has been tagged with Giannis's development in Milwaukee. He was a longtime assistant with the Bucks, and so does this add any Giannis to the Magic stuff?
Little Paolo Giannis flip-flop. I mean, he's probably the best player they could get back in return for Giannis.
Probably, outside of if they just did trade for Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Which they wouldn't. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting one.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that for either team.
It'd be kind of fun. They don't have a lot of their picks. They traded them all to get Desmond Bane, so we'll see what happens there. Last thing we'll do on the news here, kind of a funny one. I saw this on Twitter this morning, figured I'd throw it in here. Andre Drummond was on some stream, and he was asked about his time ending in Detroit. He said, quote, "It was hard. I cried. I sat in my car and cried for hours. I wanted to stay in Detroit. I didn't want it to end like that." Kind of sad, man. Like, Drummond always has talked about how much he loved playing for the Pistons, and like has never really talked poorly about them, which a lot of players seem to do when they leave certain organizations. So I just saw that, and I thought that was interesting.
I thought he was gonna like plea that he hopes he ends his career there. That's where I thought you were going.
I feel like he's kind of going, he's kind of going there by saying that, though, right? Like, I bet he wants to come back.
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah, we got Paul Reed. We're all good.
989-837-6125. Stay tuned. We got a guest coming up when we return. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt. on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, guest in the studio with us for this segment, TJ Johnson, 4 seasons exterminating, the operations manager who's been there a handful of years, joining us now. TJ, you tell me right before we go live, this is your guys' busy season for the exterminating part of the job, which is, well, the whole job.
Yes. April through October is really when you're finding more of the outside pests because it's warmer outside. So they're coming in, and then you've got the overwintering ones in April, and then October that are nesting or coming back out too.
So it's interesting too because I didn't realize that you guys are located out of Lakeview, but you're telling me you're up in Gaylord sometimes. Big Rapids is where you live. You'll go down to Kalamazoo. You guys are basically covering the whole state. So genuinely, anybody listening to us on YouTube, whether you're in the Great Lakes Bay region, whatever part of that Great Lakes Bay, wherever you're listening, it sounds like you guys don't really have a limit to where you're going. You'll travel almost everywhere.
Yep, pretty good portion of the state. We stay out of like the Thumb area. It's a little too far of a drive to get over there, and it's just not, kind of worth it for everybody. But yeah, for the most part, we cover about 3/4 of the lower part of Michigan.
That's awesome. So this time of year, you said outdoor bugs starting to come in. Like, what is something that people aren't even really taking into consideration right now that you would recommend doing as someone in the exterminating field?
Honestly, the one thing people aren't really taking into consideration is preparing for ticks when they go outside. It's rough to do because it's warm out, but wearing pants with your socks over the top and taping it up will keep those ticks off your legs and off your body. They're really bad right now.
Really bad right now. Why is that?
Just that time of year. Every year it gets worse and worse for Michigan.
So right now, with 4 seasons, you guys are doing more than just tick stuff like lawn care, commercial, dumpster services, lift services, bed bugs, roaches. Can you talk a little bit about just the wide variety of different services that you guys offer?
Yeah, we cover all of your general pests, anything from ants, spiders, anything that you're going to see inside of your house. We have different plans for that, and then we cover literally everything from bed bugs to mice, roaches, everything but rodents pretty much right now. Or like, not rodents, but like larger animals.
Those are mostly the outdoor ones?
Yeah, those are the ones. We don't take care of those right now, but we're working on that currently.
What are the different kind of, inspections that people can come order from you guys?
So we do, we offer termite inspections, which has been a real big thing this year. They seem to be busy or more active than most seasons due to all the rain that we had. So we have termite inspections, we could cockroach inspections, bed bug inspections. We do full building apartments for or full building inspections for apartment complexes too, if they want to find out if any units in their building have bed bugs, roaches, general pests, anything like that.
It's funny too because I don't think most people would realize that they have bed bugs by any means, and then all of a sudden you can go in there and take a look, and it's like.
So that's kind of a funny one. They bite you, and normally you're going to itch from it, but most people just don't want to admit that that's what they are.
Mm. And how often do you come in and check, and sure enough, that's what it is?
Way more often than you would believe. So it's something they're just spreading really all across the state, and it's something. Thankfully, they don't fly, they don't jump. They're hitchhikers, but you can pick them up all over the place. We've treated everything from schools to libraries to apartment buildings to, you name it, we've been there.
TJ Johnson here representing 4 Seasons Exterminating. So now that we are in the summer months, it's funny because of the 4 seat. Like, what's actually more popular in the winter? Because you told me the ticks. Now, just out of curiosity, what is it in the winter that you're dealing with most often?
A lot of winter is commercial stuff, just kind of integrated pest management where we go in monthly, just make sure there's no issues going on, keeping rodents out, checking for overwintering pests. You still have bugs in the wintertime. There's still spiders. There's still other things that can be inside of your house that will especially come out when it gets a little bit warmer.
You told me right before we went on, diehard Lions fan too,
yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely.
What are you thinking for this upcoming season?
I think it all depends on health, really. As long as we can stay healthy, we need Miller to be good at right tackle to start out, especially with the recent trade. We got a lot more damage on the defensive side in our division, or in the conference. But as long as everybody can stay healthy, I think we can be really good. I think Moore's going to be good. I mean, anybody playing opposite of Aiden Hutchinson has had a decent season. So I think Moore with just the feeling he gets from being able to play with Aiden after missing out on Aiden at Michigan, I think he's really just going to put everything into it.
Yeah, it sounds like he's like always had Aiden in the back of his mind in terms of chasing the sack record at Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think he ever thought he could play with him, but always wished he could have over at Michigan, and now he's got the chance to do it. And you make the same point that I've always made of like anyone across from Hutchinson, whether it's James Houston or whether it's Al-Quadin Muhammad, they've always been able to rack up some pretty good numbers because of all the attention that Hutchinson draws. So I do think Derek Moore is going to be someone who can be a productive player right away as a rookie.
Yeah, and I think he's going to come in with his head down and he's just going to go to work too. And I think that's going to be really important.
Tigers, you said trading Tarek Skubal. You're in on it at this point.
I'm all in. Yep, at this point. And I know we're only a few games out of the wild card, but that's not something you take a chance with at this point because Skubal's not going to re-sign with Detroit.
Did you think this last year, or is this?
No, I thought it last year too.
You did think it last year too.
I knew last year we needed to be moving him, especially after the contract we just gave Framber. We're not going to. I mean, Skubal's going to ask for the moon.
Yeah, twice as much as Framber or whatever it ends up being.
Easily.
So yeah, it is interesting. I know you said diehard Lions fan. It sounds like you're pretty tapped into the Tigers on a daily basis too.
Yep. Lions, Tigers, Pistons. I'm kind of
all over the place.
All over. Yep.
Well,
Michigan
versatile.
football for sure.
Versatile, just like Four Seasons Exterminating.
Exactly.
Taking care of all your all your.
I got a sport for every season.
You got a bug for every season too.
Absolutely. I got a favorite one to take care of for pretty much every season.
Well, let's run through them.
All right. So summertime, I like to take care of the box elder bugs because nobody can stand them and they're hard to kill.
Like the challenge.
Yes. Pretty much any time of year, cockroaches and bed bugs are two of my favorites because they're really, really difficult to get rid of. The winter time, I'd really say rodents, sealing up houses and keeping them out of the house so that people don't have to worry about having poison in their house in the first place. And then fall, I would say the stink bugs that are trying to overwinter for the season. They try to get up and hide into places, and that way, as soon as it warms up, you end up having those in your house.
Well, what is the best way people can reach out to you and the people over at Four Seasons Exterminating?
So you can reach us. You can give us a call at 989-352-7777. You can find us on Facebook at Four Seasons Exterminating, and then also online at www.fourseasonsext.com.
Well, if you got some bugs around the house, want to prevent them in your yard, whatever it is, maybe you got a chance to meet TJ Johnson, talk some ball with him too as he stops by and gets rid of those bugs.
Take the time.
There you go. Four Seasons Exterminating partnered with us for the last couple months, so excited that we can form this, and hopefully it's just the beginning of something, all right?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, when we come back, we've got our three traditions to close out every show. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live on 100.9 The Mitt. Thanks one more time for TJ Johnson joining us here on the show, representing Four Seasons Exterminating. We'll be right back here on The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9. on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, we have 3 traditions to close out each and every show here on the Ben Bosscher Show, the first of which is our Lock of the Day.
Lock of the Day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Truly a horrifying start to the month of June. If you would have told me the Tigers scored 10 runs, there was simply no way that McGonigal wasn't going to have 2 total bases. And he had 1 single, and that was the only hit he had. And therefore, I lost 0 for 1 to open up the month. Not great.
Yeah, and he singled in this to lead off the game,
I know.
too. That was the toughest part. When I saw that, I was like, oh, yeah, I mean, he's going to get another hit at some point tonight. He had a ton of opportunities as well. Drew a walk, of course, but yeah, tough way to start the month. But that's okay. You're just 1 unit down to open up June, being it was the first pick of the month. So not so bad.
Let's bounce back today. Unfortunately, no NBA Finals on today, and I'm not going to do the hockey bets. That's just me speaking out of my butt if I do. So I'm going back to Riley Green to have 2 hits plus runs plus RBI. Just has to have 2. 1 double. Actually, that wouldn't be true. It'd be 1 home run would do it.
An RBI double even?
Yeah, an RBI double would do it.
Base hit and he scores off of it.
2 hits would do it. Anything. 2 walks where he scores on both times would do it. This is minus 101. He had 7 hits plus runs plus RBI yesterday. All he needs is 2 today. Good news is he's still crushing left-handed pitching. That's what's on the mound tonight for Tampa. And I don't know if you remember this, Kyle.
Remember that?
I took a look at Riley Green's June numbers in his career. They are astonishing. And the game that he had yesterday where he homers and scores scores some runs too, maybe we're due for just another insane Riley Green stretch here in June. Off to a great start, obviously, yesterday. I mean, it's 1 game, but he OPSing, where's the split? 2,550, which, of course, is
you're
incredible.
Just saying it through June this year. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 game. But last June, OPSed 1034. 2024 June, OPSed 911. June, kind of Riley Green's month.
Yeah, I kind of forget that. Last year was definitely the year that, now that I'm looking back at this game log from last year.
One of the best months of his career.
Yeah, I mean, that's just when he totally started to crush, and that's when we had the conversations of just oh, man, he had a couple multi-homer games in June last year, too. 6 homers, 23 RBI in the month of June as well.
Hit 360.
And yet he only drew 7 walks, so I know that that's going to change this year as well.
So I think Riley Green in June might be something to just kind of go at a good amount here. So
yeah, that could be a way to get back in Lock of the Day last year. Of course, now that we are officially a year into the show, we can refer back to your June from last year as well, too. You weren't that bad last year in June.
Okay.
You're 2.7 units down in June.
That's not terrible.
It's been a lot worse before. Now, after following June is when things really started to get bad in 2025. So a chance to make up for it this time around. I think these bets, by the way, the 2 hits, runs, RBI, are just way better than the total bases bets.
I agree.
Because the total bases ones are just if a guy draws a walk, it's the worst case scenario for you. Because you have no opportunity to gain anything. You just lose an at bat. Whereas this, if Riley Green draws a walk, hey, he could still score a run off of it or something. So I think these bets are better than the bases bets in general. I'm going to tail this today.
All right, I don't hate that. I appreciate you tailing. I appreciate your support. We win this when we're back to what, 0.1 units down?
Yeah, you would be 0.01 units down because this is a minus 101 bet today.
Let's get hot this week. All right, let's keep it right. And then if we win today, we get right into a finals bet, which I feel like however many games the finals are on during weekdays, which will probably be 4, 5,
something like that.
I have the goal of winning.
Most of them,
yeah. I guess there's
I don't know
an
how many
uncertain
there
amount
is either. Yeah. Still though, I mean, a good chance to get back into this here too. Minus 101, by the way.
Crazy.
I never see that ever. Yeah, it's Zoe
Usually
101. You ever watch that show as a kid?
All I remember about that show is there was just some like middle schooler who was in college. I didn't really watch it that much.
Well, they were high schoolers, but Britney Spears.
They were in high school?
They were in high school. They were just at a boarding school. They were at a, yeah.
Okay, I guess I never watched. Britney Spears was in this show?
No, it was Britney Spears' younger sister. She was Zoe. She was the star, Jamie Lynn Spears.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Like she played Britney Spears' sister, or she was Britney Spears' sister?
No, she is Britney Spears' sister. Yeah, and just plays
I did not know this.
Zoe in the show. Yeah, there's your childhood, teenage show lore for the day.
No, the best one was Drake and Josh. Second best one was iCarly. This is just
Zoe 101 was not bad though. Like
no, yeah. I never watched it.
Agreed with you on those two though. 100%.
Those two like have to take the cake for the top two. I'd go Sweet Life, Zach and Cody third.
Degrassi.
Never watched it. Don't think I was allowed to watch
kidding.
that one.
That show was something else.
It's Euphoria for children, I guess.
Yes, literally.
Cable Euphoria.
Yes, PG-13 Euphoria for kids. It just should not be a thing.
You ever seen Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide?
Yeah, I was
underrated
a
one.
big
I
fan
loved
of
that show.
Underrated too because as a kid, that was always on. Like the reruns of that was always on early in the morning.
Oh, I was going to say it was on as soon as I got home from school.
Or maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's, yeah. There was always like a time where it's like I had a lot of time to watch it for some reason.
Yeah. It was either I was running home and watching that, or I was running home to watch the last 2 innings of a Miguel Cabrera game because the games would start at 1 and I'd get home at like 3:30 and it was pre-pitch clock era. Oh, you get back into the 5th inning. I know how I'm spending the next hour or two. It's great. What a great time.
So Ned's Declassified or Miguel Cabrera? What was a better watch?
Miguel Cabrera. Miguel Cabrera. All right, that's our lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Okay, our next tradition is our game of the day.
Game of the day.
All right, it's got to be the Stanley Cup, game 1 of the finals. I got to admit something, Kyle. Golden Knights versus Hurricanes, by the way. First game's going to be in Carolina.
What are you going to admit?
This will be my first hockey game of the postseason. I'll for sure watch this tonight, but I would be totally lying if I said I'd watched postseason hockey up to this point. When the Wings aren't in it, it's just tough for me.
I mean,
I'll always watch. I know. I'll always watch the basketball. I'm a big basketball guy, but if it's not like I'll watch this.
Yeah, they
and
happen
I'll
at the
be
same
entertained.
time as the NBA playoffs. That's the tough part. Like if you just like one sport over the other, you're going to prioritize it. I've had a couple games on, like there's been a couple days where the Tigers wrap up and there's nothing else on, so I'll just throw on the hockey game. But I have not been like dialed into any of the games, and I probably won't be like dialed into this either. But I certainly will have it on, no doubt about it.
All right, that's our game of the day.
Game of the day.
I got 2 words for you. Steve Nash and Chris Paul. Must-see TV.
All right, the final thing that we have for our show is predicting what Colin Cowherd opens with. He ends his show at noon. No, I'm sorry. We end our show at noon. He starts his show at noon. Fox Sports Radio, The Herd.
Well, technically, he ends his show at noon if he's out in Los Angeles.
But often he's doing it in Chicago.
Right.
All right, what do you think he opens with? Whose turn is it? I think it's your turn to go first, right? And I got a point yesterday?
Yep, you got a point yesterday. He just did a finals preview. 58-57. Ben has retaken the lead. I had the lead for a real long time, and it has gone back to Ben now. Hopefully I can at least tie it back up today. Episode 250 today, so it is my turn to go first. This is a tough one. I like when we get into the creative territory where we don't really know what is going to be led with. Also, while we were doing that segment, the EA Sports College Football 27 cover athletes have been announced.
Athletes, plural.
Yeah, well, because remember last year it was Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams. Any guesses on who the 3 are?
Are they individuals or there's 3 on the cover?
There's 3 on the cover.
Arch Manning.
All returning next year. No Arch Manning. Kind of crazy, right? I know. I figured it would be Arch Manning plus one of the guys that's on here. No Arch
all
Manning.
going to be returning next year.
Yes, all college players next year that were at their same school last year as well.
Oh, okay, but now I'm mixing up this year and next year. So all players that are going to be playing college football this season?
Yes,
Well,
correct.
yeah,
like
duh.
Arch Manning. Well, yeah, but I'm not saying it's like it wasn't anyone that got drafted or anything is what I'm saying.
CJ Carr.
No, it is Dante Moore as the quarterback, Malachi Toney of Miami, who, of course, made some big-time plays in the college football playoff, and the Ole Miss running back, Kejuan Lacey.
Wow.
Right?
I can't believe this is not just like Arch Manning.
And I thought it'd be Manning and Moore. That's kind of what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
They should have just put Lane Kiffin on the cover.
That would have been epic.
Because he's the face of college football this year. The cover looks pretty cool. They already posted the actual cover itself. Looks pretty sweet. Kurt Cignetti and Jaden Maeva are on a deluxe edition of the cover. Okay. Interesting. Okay, anyways, what am I going to lead with today? Or
Wait, by the way, 250 shows. We've only gotten it correct 115 times. So you and I both need to step up is what I'm
that's
hearing.
less than half per. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's good
you and I
math.
both need to step up.
Yikes. Okay. I'm going to go with the Myles Garrett trade, right? I mean, can I pick that? Can I pick Myles Garrett trade?
Yeah. He's going to have a new take on it today. Yeah.
Because it
that's
happened like
fine.
halfway through his show yesterday.
Yeah, no, I'll accept that.
I'll say what I was gonna pick AJ Brown trade, and then I'm like, I'll go Myles Garrett trade instead.
Then I will go AJ Brown trade.
Yeah, that feels right. I almost kind of like that even more.
Really?
Just because I think that happened fully after the show yesterday. So,
yeah, it did. It for sure did.
Yeah.
So I'll go with the AJ Brown trade.
okay.
All right, there you go. That's going to do it for us today. We appreciate everybody for listening. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you do your social media. TikTok and Instagram is where you'll get the exclusive video content. Facebook is where you'll stay up to date on all the latest news, stories, headlines, stats. You will not miss a thing if you like the Detroit sports. Promise you, this is the best page to follow on Facebook. And then YouTube, it's where we're live every single day. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on The Mint. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. See you then.
The Ben Bosscher